I say we get started then. So good morning, everybody. My name is Jason Valad. I am here representing TechSmith. For those who don't know what TechSmith is, you surely will after this morning. But long story short, we're the company that makes Snagit, Camtasia, and a series of other pieces of software. I'm very pleased here to welcome you either physically to Miramar College, and those who are joining us virtually, we appreciate you coming in. So a little housekeeping things. We're scheduled to go till noon, 12:30-ish. You need to take a break. We're all adults. Stand up to take a break. There's magnificent snacks out in the lobby as you have found. Thanks so much to our hosts. And for those online, we won't know whether you take a break or not, so do it as you see fit. So I'm going to introduce a few people that help make this happen today, because I'm not going to be the only one talking, because that would get very mundane and boring. So first I want to say thank you to Dave Giberson and Katie Colossus, who's out still running around doing logistics. Okay, so we heard about it. And Kat Gustafson for saying yes to everything that Dave and Katie asked for. I also wanted to say thank you and welcome Anna Sterling, who are here from the @ONE, who helped coordinate everything with the Eventbrite and just the enthusiasm behind the event. She's going to have some conversations with us today as well. And we're also joined by both a faculty member and a member of the @ONE team, Tracy Shalin, who has over your car. So she's also going to be talking a little bit today too. Before I get started, I was actually going to have Anna talk a little bit about @ONE and what they do. I have a short PowerPoint presentation because I'm not a huge fan of doing PowerPoint presentations, but it'll be a great way to share some ideas with you guys. So the chat functionality, the goal is if you have questions, we're going to leave everyone who's virtually attending muted because it'd just be too much noise to handle. If you have questions that you want to pose to me or any of the other presenters or anybody talking, please put them in the chat. And one of us, probably Dave or myself, will engage with you there and pass those questions along so that you can get your questions answered. With that being said, I'm going to pass the mic over to Anna.
Super fancy mic here. So just thanks everyone for having me and being part of this. And just for those of you who aren't familiar with @ONE, @ONE is a technology training grant funded by the Chancellor's Office. And so we provide training related to pretty much any technology, but specifically distance education. And so we're really excited to be here with TechSmith today to talk to you about the tools that they provide, and then talk to you a little bit about how those tools can potentially enhance what you're already doing in your distance ed classes, and even for people who aren't teaching online, how you help them in their face-to-face classes as well. So I'll be here throughout the day. If you have any questions specifically about @ONE, then feel free to ask me. And I brought a bunch of goodies for you guys, so please, I'll pass some of those out. But if you want any additional things, just let me know. And I got a little box of stuff over there for you guys. Those of you online, I'm sorry, I wish I could virtually give you goodies. Hopefully we'll see you at an event in the future and we can give you goodies there.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So today is structured very unstructured in the sense that I want to share ideas with you. I am not here officially to sell you anything. I'm here to show you the possibilities of what can happen with TechSmith solutions. And I will do less of the talking about the greatness of it. That's what I'll leave to some of our attendees who actually are already using some of our software. So that being said, let me do a quick introduction of me and what the purpose of today's presentation and talk is about. So I'm going to go into sharing my screen. So I have a PowerPoint here, and it's largely going to talk about the uses of video in the classroom. And I'll be completely transparent and honest. These examples can be done with software that's not ours. This is just to kind of get you thinking and engaged with some ideas. Some of the ideas that are in here are K-12 ideas that can be scaled up. Some are specifically higher ed ones that can be adjusted and scaled for you. But first and foremost, let's see here. I want to tell you who I am. So who is this Jason guy? I'm a former classroom educator. I was a K-12 educator for about 6 years, taught 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade, and most of that was in technology integration. I had my own 3rd grade class, but I saw 900 kids a week. Daunting task. That's why I had to use technology to allow me to do my job better. I do carry a master's in ed tech. I put that up there for 2 reasons. One, without my local community college and my now wife, I would have never achieved that because 14 years ago, college wasn't a thing for me. And I met several instructors that kind of took me under their wing and utilized the interest that I had to help me through. And then I went from no schooling to ending up with a master's. So I'm proud of that fact. I'm currently a customer success manager for techsmith. Long story short, I get to do cool stuff like this. I get to go out and train people. I get to work with people like Dave and Tracy and Katie and Anna and doing events that kind of expand and expose what you have possible and available to you with software options. I'm a husband. In fact, my wife is back at the hotel enjoying the beautiful views of the bay overlooking. We're really excited watching helicopters take off from Coronado Island. I'm not kidding. It's a big deal to us. We're really enjoying that. I'm also a dad, and I'm missing all of those guys, which means because I'm a dad, I have to do the obligatory kids picture. So upper left is Kate, my 5-year-old going into kindergarten this fall. Will on the bottom left, 8-year-old. Tony on the right, my 11-year-old soon-to-be middle school student. So, all right, that being said, I have 10-ish ways of using video in the classroom. And like I said, some of them are specifically K-12 that can be scaled, and so on and so forth. Is there anyone in the room that's familiar with the flipped classroom methodology? Great, so I don't have to explain that it's creating content for students to consume outside of the classroom so that you can utilize your FaceTime better. Great, okay. For those online, I hope you heard that well. So this is a very basic use of the flipped classroom. This is evergreen content. Is anybody familiar with that term? Okay. Evergreen content, which is really important, it's something you create. You spend the time in creating a video or maybe an audio podcast, and it's something you do not have to go back and change. Mathematical concepts, largely, over time, don't change. So you can create these lessons, and unless you choose to go in and modify them, they can live on and on forever. In your college classrooms, this could be basic information webinar or videos, how your grading policy is, your syllabus with subtle changes for each semester, depending on how you do it, the way you want papers formatted. These are videos that you can create once, and they can live on as long as you choose to have them live on. So this one is just an example of flipping a lesson. We'll play it here for a second or two.
We're looking today at number lines, and number lines are fundamental and really help us understand mathematical concepts, so they really have a lot of value. There's some basics that we want to make sure that students understand about number lines. First,
so there's something I forgot to ask you. I'm going to actually give you a small assignment throughout these examples. There's some sort of general characteristic that all these examples share. All the videos I'm going to show you are going to share this similar characteristic. I want you to be thinking about it. I'll probably ask you again to be thinking about it halfway through, and then at the end, maybe we'll utilize that as a way for Anna to hand out some of her cool stuff. I also am toying with the idea of giving away software today, too. Because I'm that guy. So, flipping a lesson, evergreen content, powerful use of video. This, teaching when you're absent, is the first time I use a video. No, that's not me, but he kind of looks like me. This is Dan Spencer. Dan is a chemistry teacher in Jackson, Michigan. For those of you who are familiar with Michigan, Jackson's here. Yeah, we really do carry around our map. And I'm talking the whole state. We got everything. So when I was explaining to my kids where we're going, I said, we're going here. Maybe a little farther out. Teaching when you're absent. The first time I used a video in my classroom, this is what it was for, because our daughter, we decided, what a brilliant idea to have her the most opportune week of school. The first week of school. I met my students the first day, and then was gone for a week. Great. I mean, no chance of building relationships or anything at that point, right? So I created a whole series of videos for that week. that my guest teacher simply had to play and then engage with the students based on what I taught. They didn't have to teach anything. They had to manage. Well, I'll let Dan explain why he created his video.
All right, gang, bad news. There's going to be a little change of plans. As you can tell, I am not here today. I have to take care of a sick wife, and that is no fun at all. But anyways, what I want to do is just let you know what I expect out of you guys today, because quite honestly, it's business as usual. You guys know exactly what you're supposed to do, how you're supposed to.
He shot that video by coming into his classroom at 2:30 in the morning because at that point he knew that day wasn't going to happen. Now, he doesn't do that anymore. He actually will go and shoot these videos at home. But it's just the idea of I had not, after I did this, I did not ever again write a lesson plan out for a guest teacher at that time. For the higher education situation, are there situations where you can't make it to class, especially if you're in face-to-face environments? Something comes up, there's power outages, some car broke up, something happens. This is a way to not lose that teaching day, right? You can put up, and I'm not saying you have to put up an hour-long lecture. Maybe you put up a 5 or 6 minute greatest hits of what you wanted to be covered in that day's lesson. Have the students consume those. Be prepared to talk about them next time through. There's creative ways that you can use the video if you're not able to be in the classroom. Personalized feedback. This is one of my favorite ones. This is actually a teacher. Her name is April Gudenroth. She teaches AP English in Colorado Springs. She jumped onto the video bandwagon really early on because she gives feedback to students writing. I think this paper was submitted via a software called Turnitin. Anybody familiar with that one? Okay. So she literally will, and I'll show you an example here. She walks through a student's paper after marking it up to give them some feedback. I said, why? Why would you do that? I mean, I think a video originally, it's a math thing or a science thing. She said because when she was in a graduate course, she submitted a 27-page research paper or whatever it was. And in bold red letters, the first page in the margin, she saw 4 words. What were you thinking? She said when she read that to herself, she heard, what were you thinking? And it killed her. It was a horrible experience, a horrible reaction. She had put all this time and effort in, and what she decided to do was go to the office hours of the professor. So the professor pulled her paper out, pointed at the comment, and said, what were you thinking here? I kind of understand your thought process, but give me a little bit more. Intonation of voice, huge. She said she would never, ever put her students through that ever again. So she shoots videos to walk through her feedback for her students.
Hey Anthony, it's Mrs. G, and I am giving you some feedback on your rough draft. First thing I want you to bring your attention to is anytime you see these little blue comment or little blue squares throughout your paper, those are my comments, so make sure you read those. Overall, make sure that you have a running header up here in the upper right-hand corner, and make sure you put a word count at the end. Going back to your thesis statement, love your thesis statement. The only thing I would say is that you say social paradigm twice, really close together. Is there any way to rewrite these?
I'm super guilty of using the same words over and over again. She does this 4 times a semester. She has a lot of students. She does 4 where she'll mark them up beforehand. And then she does one that she calls a cold read. I said, cold read? She goes, yep. I open the paper, hit record, read it through cold, 90 seconds. She gives initial unbiased feedback based on the first reading to the students. And they find it invaluable. In fact, she promised to do it for 1 paper 1 semester and didn't get to it, and there was uproar from her students because that's how they decided they would learn best, based on the video feedback. Parent community communication. So this is a superintendent. His name is Dave Tebow, superintendent of K-12 school system in Hamilton, Michigan, here-ish. They were in the middle of a severe budget crisis. They were trying to hold these public forums to discuss bond issues and tax issues. And the rooms that were holding the parents for these meetings were overflowing, and the fire marshal had to shut them down. So he started creating a series of podcasts. This is just recording over a PowerPoint presentation It's very dry and mundane, so I won't make you watch the whole thing. But just as a way to share that information so everyone got it at the same time. I'll give you a little snippet of Mr. Tebow's somewhat monotone voice.
Hi, this is Dave Tebow, Superintendent of the Hamlin's Community Schools, and this is the second podcast in a series that will keep everyone as up to date as possible with the information facing our district. I want to point out that there are no secrets here at Hamilton. We're just
one of the youngest superintendents in the state of Michigan. I think he was 29 when he took over as superintendent. So his constituents, his families, expected this sort of technology from him, and he was able to deliver. Anyone noticing a theme across the videos yet? Okay, keep looking. Stop repeating yourself. As a teacher, when I started teaching in more of a technological way, my second year, I made a rule. If I was asked a question by a student or a series of students more than 5 times before Halloween, that question and answer became a video. 75 videos that month. Some of them were 12 seconds long. It was, how do I find this folder? How do I log into our email system? Where do you want us to submit papers to again? I forgot how to change my background. I created a series of videos, super basic screen recordings, and I put them on, at the time, underutilized computers in the classroom. It's like a library, so they could walk up and click it. The rules were, watch the video first. And I'm not going to repeat myself, so they can watch that video ad nauseum. They can watch it until they're sick in the head or get the information. They then could ask a colleague or a co-student, if they, a classmate, if they didn't understand it. If the question eventually got back to me, either I delivered the information wrong or there was something else they were curious about. So this one, we'll have to watch the level of this one. This one might be a little louder, Dave.
It'll be okay.
Okay, this one is just someone at the time teaching students how to create a Google site from back in the day. That's not it. That's the next slide.
Okay, to create a Google site, what you're going to do is you're going to open up Google Chrome. At this point, you should see a screen that's similar to this. If you don't have Google Chrome on your computer, you're going to want to make sure that you download Google Chrome on your computer because that's going to be a very important component of all of the learning that you're going to be doing this semester. So open up Google Chrome and then go into Sites.
All right. Give a course overview. How many of you are instructors, professors, faculty in this room? Yeah, right? So my question to you is, what do you typically do on the first day of class every semester? Talk about class,
What to expect.
syllabus, walk through expectations. This particular instructor created a video to walk through his syllabus because the content he needed to cover in that semester wasn't allowing for him to give up one day of class for this. And he also, when I met him, he described it as watching someone give a PowerPoint presentation and reading the slides to the attendees. He says, I'm fortunate that I'm able to read it. I need to give that same affordance to my students. So he created a syllabus. And this one is just for his fall 2014 class. And he told me, unless he needs to change something in his syllabus, this video can live on indefinitely.
Hi, this is Bill Leach, your course director for PPD 628, Urban Planning and Social Policy. This is one of my favorite courses to teach at USC for a number of reasons, but above all because the students, by and large, really seem to appreciate the course. I taught it last a year ago, and I was the section instructor then. And
This actually looks like an interesting class to me. I don't know why. It looks like a grad level course. Someone I met, I was just at the California State University Course Redesign Conference earlier this week, and someone teaches a course on pop culture. I'm like, why did I take a class on pop culture? Anyway, it's thought it was interesting. Introduce yourself. This is where I really want you to be thinking about the common characteristics across the videos when you watch this one. This is a professor, Odessa Community College in Odessa, Texas. her director, or I think it was the department head, went to them and said, you need to start using video in your classroom. That was the end of the instruction. They all went, huh? Why? What? How? How do you want this utilized? And so they took it upon themselves to shoot. They were largely online courses, I should tell you that. They decided to take selfie videos of themselves, just introducing themselves to their students, because typically their online teaching environment was very dry. My entire master's program, 33 of the 36 credits were online through Western Michigan University. They were all bulletin board based. Not one audio clip, not one video. It was make a comment on this thread, comment on 2 others, comment on the 2 comments that they gave you, and that was 33 credits worth of life. I had one face-to-face class that the professor rarely showed up at. But let me let you listen to her introduce herself.
Hi, welcome to English 1302. I'm your instructor, Julie Ross. I've been with Odessa College now for about a year. I'm from Chicago originally, and I taught English up there as well. I look forward to getting to know you all and to help you learn more about English composition.
Slight delay there. I'm not sure what it was there. But anyway, so originally from Chicago, lives in Texas, got a y'all in there. I heard it. We had a saying, I still see it at TechSmith, especially if you're teaching online, you want your students to know that you're not a faceless robot. When I would film videos for myself for my class, I would do it from my office in my basement. And Dave's seen it in the videos we've shot, bookshelf, the giant Michigan State banner behind me. And you saw I have 3 kids. For a while there, I would kind of barricade the door so the kids wouldn't come down. I'd shoot a video. My daughter would inevitably make it downstairs and hop on my lap. I'd edit her out. I'd shoot another video. She'd hop on my lap. I'd edit her out. Third time she did it, I said, you know what? No, I'm a dad, too. This is my daughter. Hi, babes. You need to go. Dad's working. Love you. Kiss. Bye. Move on. Because I want that to be part of my personality. Guess what? I'm an adult. I'm a parent. Things happen in our lives. This is the reason why I may not necessarily get to what I promised you because I have these other commitments. So it just gives a personal, humanizing touch. Oh, I should tell you one more thing about this one. Now in Odessa, this has become such a thing with professors. There's one professor who is a hardcore mountain biker, and he uses GoPro cameras. And you've probably seen these kind of videos on the net. He puts a GoPro camera on his helmet, and he puts one on his handlebars facing him. His intro video every semester is the most insane trip he can take from his house to their campus, where he nearly dies many times and jumps over ravines and nearly misses trains and shoots a different one every semester, puts those 2 videos together. I have heard, it's not substantiated, but I have heard that students sign up for that class just for that. So, it's a thing. Walk through materials. This is another evergreen content. I really wish I had thought of this idea. This is a physical geology science class rock kit. It was simply shot by the media department, the people that check out the materials. They walk through what would be expected to be found in that kit when you check it out, where to find everything. And then when they return it, the students know what's supposed to be there so that they can continue to get credit. Because I know when I was in college, if you forgot to turn in a book or a piece of material, they withheld transcripts or grades. It's just a way for them to avoid having students have a negative experience with the materials.
All right, this video is to introduce and take inventory of your Unit 1 lab kit. So when you checked it out of the library, you should have bought a box home that looks like this. When you open it up, you should find inside 30 numbered specimens. In this case, the first 20 are going to be minerals, and the last 10 are going to be igneous rocks, and we're going to take the first 4 weeks.
Unless those kits change or we discover a new mineral or rock that needs to go in that kit, they never have to make this video again. So when people talk about video creation taking a lot of time, there's some front loading to it, but once you do it, I remember one professor I worked with spent their entire summer putting videos together to make sure their fall was awesome and their spring was awesome. And the next summer, when all their cohorts were stressing, they were like, can't relate, done. they chose to do one video because they decided to change up the terminology they used. So, just as an idea. Couple more here.
Of the class to study.
Authentic assessment. Typically, this is a video of a small child playing a recorder. It's too early for that. This is a student, I believe also at Odessa Community College, final project for an American Sign Language course. Their instructions were to, at home, to work through a speech and sign it back to the video and send the video to their instructor to show that they had, in fact, consumed and learned their content. I'm always amazed at people that know sign language. It's something I've always wished I could learn, but this is kind of encouraging.
I want to tell you a story about one of the first times that I really understood the concept of cultural diversity. I was babysitting for a couple who lived right behind my house. They were a Filipino couple, and they had 3 kids. And I was doing this full-time job at the time. And I would get.
So not only can you utilize video, but you can expect your students to, because there's probably a good chance they carry around some sort of camera with them everywhere, almost regardless of socioeconomic status. They have something that looks like this, most likely. Okay, so I promised 10 examples, right? I can't count, so here's another one. Still thinking about that theme. So this one caveat was officially using a piece of TechSmith software called Coach's Eye. It's a mobile application. It allows you to film a video and then play the video back and edit or annotate it based on normal playback or a slow motion or frame by frame. This video is actually 2.5 seconds long, but they spoke over the whole thing by going frame by frame. It is a breaking of a balsa wood bridge structure for an engineering course.
Okay, we're going to watch Corey Williford's bridge break. You want to look right in here. There it goes, starting on that beam in the back. Now it's through that, and the pressure pulls. Now it's collapsing in the center. And there goes the bar all the way through. Corey did a great job. His bridge had a 320% efficiency rating.
So that's your 10 plus 1. Oh, wait, I really can't count. This one I include because I love it, and it's a real great example of a lab. This is just filming a reaction in a science class. Is anybody a science teacher in here? This is an experiment that I've been told is called elephant's toothpaste. Familiar with this one at all? Okay. This is, if you've seen animated GIFs that are just kind of those mesmerizing things that replay over and over that are calming, this is calming to me. This is just filming the reaction of an experiment called elephant's toothpaste. Had they shot it with Coach's Eye or something like that where they could move it along frame by frame, they could see when the reaction actually happened, where the catalyst was, and all this sort of thing. So a couple things you should know about TechSmith just in general. So we've been working with K-12 educators for over 20 years. We work across the world with different educators on different projects. We actually were part of the flipped classroom movement when it started with Aaron Sands and John Bergman out in Colorado. And well, we already said that. So that's the end of the PowerPoint presentation, and I promise unless I pull up one to use as an example later, there won't be another one. But I'm going to ask a question now. And I'm going to put Anna on the spot in that if we get an answer that we're looking for, maybe she'll share some of her goodies with that person.
Maybe.
Wow, that's tough. Watching those 12 videos, did anyone get a sense of some sort of theme, some sort of characteristic that was the same across all of those videos? In fact, I'll let you converse with your neighbors for 30 seconds, and I'll reward all members of the party should they get it right. So go ahead and talk with your neighbors, 30 seconds, something you saw that was consistent across those videos.
Well, there was some that had like
Okay. 15 more seconds. I like the
impacted the rest of your day. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Crazy. Yeah, I was in the board.
All right. Do I have any volunteers to share their idea of what they think was the consistent theme? Yes, and your name is?
My name is Pat. This is my new friend Howard.
Pat Howard.
And we think that they created a sense of community.
The thought was that the consistent theme was that they created a sense of community.
Being part of their lesson.
Okay. That's pretty good. It's not what I was looking for.
Dang.
But the fact that you derived that from watching those examples is very intriguing. Good try. Sir.
My name is Albert. My friend is Selena.
Hi, Selena.
No suggestion. So
okay. So you're the mouthpiece of the brain. I get it.
We see the common theme as being personalization. Everything is personalized.
Personalization. That's pretty good too. Not what I was looking for. But I like that idea as well.
Personalized.
In the back.
Okay, well, we sort of have a bigger group here.
Bigger group, okay.
The three of us.
Yeah.
And in each of the videos, you actually learned something that you didn't necessarily know before.
So
New
there was
information was presented.
Okay.
And you learned something from each video.
So there was actual content. There was a purpose behind the video.
Right.
Also very true. Not what I was looking for. But I'm stealing all of these in the next conversation. Anyone else? Simple broadcast in terms of one video reaching many people.
There's a person online who has an answer too.
Okay. Tanner's getting close. Getting close. Yes.
Our group had two thoughts.
Two thoughts.
One,
Yes.
she thought that it was interesting that it was not about the teacher but focused on the student.
Okay.
I kept thinking that it was a way to connect, a way with each student so that they thought you were taking more time to interact with them.
Yep, that's okay. Also great ideas.
The person online said the videos didn't seem to have a lot of editing or post-production.
Who is that?
Sandra P.
Sandra P. is
librarian from City College.
Oh, she's 10 million% correct.
Wow. So what I'll do is, since she's
Have her send me an email.
Well, since she's part of the district, can I leave the goodies with you, Dave? Would you be able to get?
There you go.
Sandra P. is going to get goodies.
So the theme, and I'm going to ask yours in just 1 second. The theme across all these videos was, in fact, that there was zero, short of the one call out on the Coach's Eye video, these were as basic a video as you can make. There wasn't any scripting. There wasn't correct lighting. In terms of the professor, and she hates me for saying this, but I'll say it, in terms of the lady shooting the video on her phone in her kitchen, there was no gussying up or makeup or anything like that. These people created content that was valuable, that created personalized engagement, that reached many of their students without walking into a studio, right? They didn't walk into a studio that didn't have professional setup. Meaning, you can start and end with the most basic videos you want, but you can create bigger and more bold depending on what you want to do. You had an idea.
I realized that I couldn't use any of the videos in that you showed in my classroom because our district required subtitling for all our videos.
State of California requires 508 compliance for captioning, closed captions. Gosh, I wish there was a way to do that with our software real easy. Dave, is it possible to caption with our software?
Is it speech test? Is it automatic speech to text?
Yes.
Oh, that's nice.
But there's caveats, and we'll talk about those.
You gotta do a little bit of editing, right?
That being said, what I'd like, is there any other questions or comments that came through the chat that we saw that we want to cover? Let's take a look.
She's in motion.
They're working on world domination over there.
Let's see. Mostly congratulations for sending.
That's the sense of community.
May I speak to the folks online for a second? Folks, we do have you muted just to keep down background noise, but you can unmute yourself in the lower left-hand corner. If you mouse over your video screen, you'll see a little microphone icon in the lower left. It'll have a red slash through it. You just click on that icon, and you'll be able to speak to us, and we'll be able to hear you very clearly. So please avail yourselves. Anybody have something they'd like to say? I'll give you a second.
Thank you. This is Sandra.
Awesome.
Oops, that's never covered up. Sorry about that.
Okay. So what I'd like to do next is I'd like to walk you through two of our products. One that I will show you, and then I'll ask Dave to kind of comment on, which is a product called Snagit. Is anybody familiar with Snagit? Okay. Is anyone in the room familiar with something called Jing? Guess who makes Jing? We do. So Jing is a free, I personally make it. Jing is a screen capture software. It allows you to take quick images and quick videos. It's older technology. It was written in 2008.
No, I haven't.
People still use it. The challenge with using Jing is it creates a SWIFT file, a flash file for video, which if you have a student consuming any content on an iPad or an iPhone or a lot of modern devices, it's going to struggle. So we also have what is our flagship product called Snagit. And Snagit, in my determination, is Jing on steroids. In a good way, not getting caught creepy figure, metal back Olympics kind of way. We just released a brand new version of Snagit 12 days ago, and I'd like you to see it. So I'm going to go back to sharing my screen here. And we'll walk out of the PowerPoint presentation. And the 10,000 things I also have open. Okay. At its core, is there a way to hide that? Let's do that. This is the Snagit capture window. Snagit is a still image capture and annotation tool. I can take a picture of something on my screen and mark it up. What people don't know is you can also do screen recording with your spoken audio with Snagit as well. And one of the things we introduced with the new version of Snagit is you can do screen recording with your voice as well as your webcam now. You can toggle back and forth between your screen recording and your camera to add some of that personal touch that we talked about. It's pretty easy to do. How many of you in the room are Windows users? Okay. How many are Mac users? I'm showing the Windows version. Mac version is exactly the same, which we couldn't say in the past. So I'm going to walk through Snagit for you a little bit here, and then we'll get into our next part. So Snagit, when you install it, is actually mapped to your print screen button on your keyboard, where if you hit print screen, you're presented with these crosshairs. Do you guys see those? And then I can literally click and drag over a part of my screen that I want to capture. And when I let go, if I'm on the all-in-one tab, I can choose at this point whether I want to take a picture of this or shoot a video. In this case, I'll take a picture. And as soon as I capture that image, it drops it into this editor. And the editor allows you to, I don't know, put an arrow on it, point to something important. Is there a way to pull the zoom toolbar up and away, Dave, you know?
You mean this?
This part for me. No, on my screen, I'll just bring this down. It was obscuring what I wanted to show. For me, I couldn't see it. So up here on my screen is all the zoom controls. Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
So you've got the ability to add arrows, text callouts, for example, hi mom, or something more legitimate. You can do callouts like speech bubbles. You can do tool cutouts where you can cut sections of this image out to show detail from side to side. There's fill tools, there's shape tools, there's stamps. So if you had an image or a branding thing, or maybe you work for the community college district and you want that stamp on there, or you work for Act 1 and you want that stamp there. Or if you're my friend Dave McCullum and you take a picture of somebody and use their head as a stamp, you can put that on your images. You can draw freehand on an image with a pen tool. Highlighter, you have a step tool where every time you click, first do this, then do that, then do this. You can walk through processes. You can erase things. You can obscure things with the blur tool. Like maybe this part of our logo is in the witness protection program and I need it totally obscured so that you can't see what it is. In this case, you can. Maybe I'll pixelate it. There. We have a new tool called Magnify where you can take an image and select part of it and pull open a highly detailed section of it. There's lots of fun things you can do with Snagit. I don't want to go through all of it. But it allows you to take an image from anywhere and annotate it. Then that image can be shared various places. In this case, you can just save it on your desktop and send it. You can put it in a Word document, in Excel. How many of you use PowerPoint? You can drop it right into a PowerPoint presentation by just clicking on PowerPoint. You can save it to a cloud service like screencast.com. Screencast.com is a TechSmith hosting solution. If you are a TechSmith Relay customer, I'm not sure how many campuses in here are. I know that
all the SDCCD schools are.
So you could actually share it to TechSmith Relay, which allows you to share that image out and not have to worry about hosting. It's all built in there. If it's a video file, which I'll show you in a second, you can share to online video services, YouTube. Anybody use Google Apps for education? It's automatically mapped to Google Drive as well, so you can use it in all your Google presentations and Google documents as well. You have the ability to tag images because inside both the Windows and Mac version there is a library that remembers every capture you've ever made. It remembers the date, where it was captured from, if it was something inside of an application. If it was from a particular website, which if I pull mine open, it's probably a lot of Delta and Marriott and all things I use for travel. But you can then add tags to them, so if you know it was for Math 101, you don't have to recreate that image again. You can just go into your library and search Math 101. At TechSmith on our campus, we tend to move offices a lot, and there's 5 different buildings. So what we've done is most of us have taken images of the blueprints of the buildings and drawn an arrow said, you can find Jason here. And I just label it map. So if someone says, I don't know where your office is, you have a meeting with me in 20 minutes, I simply send them the image, and they know where to come. Let's see here. Things that were new in Snagit is the ability to customize your actual editor experience. So for me, there's a tool up here called a fill tool. Literally like pouring a bucket of paint at something and making something all the same color. I don't use it. So I can actually click and pull it off and make my toolbar work for me. I also have particular places where I share my images and videos, and I hold those share images or share areas up to my toolbar so that I can utilize it myself. I also love the fact that you can create customized callouts and quick styles they're called. So this red arrow, maybe red isn't doing it for me, and I want to make this arrow a slightly different hue, maybe this lighter pink style. When I do that, I can actually save that arrow so that I don't have to recreate it again. Now it's part of my library. I can use it again. If you're doing something that's branded for your campus or for your school, you can use the actual colors and not have to recreate them. And when you start adding, in the previous versions of Snagit, you would add all these quick styles, and eventually they'd start going what's called below the fold. They'd go way down, and you'd be searching for them. So what we allow you to do now is you can actually click and reposition those quick styles where you want. Because maybe this pink arrow is what I'm going to do every day of the week now, and I need it available. And that'll happen if you make any change to it. So maybe I change the thickness of it. Maybe I want the arrowhead to have a different shape. Anytime I do that, I can create a quick style that remembers that particular style arrow. Great for consistency, documentation. And it works not just for the arrows, but for text and any of the other tools as well. So that is part of something that's did anybody use Snagit and use something called scrolling capture? You know what scrolling capture is? Okay, so scrolling capture is if you were to walk or go to a website, let's pull up, what's the most embarrassing thing I could pull up? I know, Facebook. So Facebook, that's my cousin's. Facebook is what's called an infinitely scrolling page. You can keep scrolling down and Facebook will continue to load. If you were to do a scrolling capture, which means instead of a region selection, regions where you click and drag where you want to capture, if you chose scrolling window, if it's on a web page that will scroll, you see those arrows kind of bouncing around on the screen? That's telling me it scrolls down and to the right, and the diagonal one means it scrolls down and to the right. So I could click on that bouncing arrow at the bottom, and it'll start scrolling and capture it. Well, it's an infinitely scrolling page. So before it destroys my machine, I'm going to stop the capture. Scrolling capture on shorter pages is still very powerful. But let's see how unwieldy this image is. We go to fit to screen. That's a gigantic image and not very helpful. So what we decided is that although scrolling capture was powerful, we added something else called panoramic capture. What panoramic capture allows you to do is very similar to scrolling capture, but it allows you to control what you capture. For example, I've done a demonstration where I'll go to the Bill of Rights, Declaration of Independence, and I will scroll and capture that entire window. And it'll capture the whole thing, but it'll also capture the About Us, Contact Us, Job stuff at the bottom, and the copyright. I don't need all that because I would eventually have to crop and edit that out from my image. What panoramic capture allows you to do is I can click and drag over a region that I want to capture. And when I click Start, I can simply scroll the image to the point where I'm done capturing it. And now the image that is captured is what I wanted. It's not committing myself to the entire page. Where else does this come in handy? Side-to-side capture, wide captures. So the one I typically use is, there's a great example of a long image that we tend to use, and it is Long Island, New York, aptly named because it's long. So this is a picture. I could just grab an image of Long Island, but I need a really detailed view. So I might scroll in here, come down to Snagit, grab a panoramic capture area. And then when I click Start, I'm simply going to move the map along where I want captured. And if you look up here, it's actually stitching together that image. So as I move along, and I'm going diagonally because Long Island is not a horizontal part of the state of New York, I can come up here and capture it. And now when I hit Stop, it's going to chew through and grab all those images, stitch them together in one crisp, clear image. there is Long Island. Okay.
Yeah, big thumbs up on chat.
Oh, nice. I like thumbs up. Where is this more valuable inside of your classroom? Does anyone use a spreadsheet of any kind? I don't know, grades, assignment tracking. More often than not, you have more rows than there are on the screen and more columns. But you don't always need the headers. You just need a section. You can actually capture top to bottom, left to right within a small area of your Excel spreadsheet, thank you, Google Slide, Google Docs series, and all those types of cell-based things. So panoramic capture allows you to do just that. The next thing that we did with Snagit is underneath the video tab. So how many of you knew Snagit could record video? Some people did because it was hidden. Unless you snuck around, I shouldn't even say snuck around, unless you played with Snagit, you wouldn't know it was there. So you can capture video with your spoken audio right now. Just record your screen. But the number one thing that was requested of us was the ability to add webcam. And we did that. So you can actually turn on your webcam, and if you have more than one plugged in, you can choose it from here. And so let's talk about New York here for just a second. So I'm going to do a capture of this part of my screen. And when I hit record, oh, it's not showing up. Let's try that one more time. I wonder if I toggled off the webcam. What's that? So we'll do another capture area. Oh, you know why I can't show it? Because it's integrated with Zoom.
That's right. Your webcam is, Zoom is using your webcam.
Okay.
Well, that's frustrating, Dave. Gosh, I wish there was a way I could have been prepared for such a thing. Oh, there is.
All right. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to the Snagit 13 upgrade.
This isn't my first rodeo. This is the actual Snagit 13 webinar I gave a couple weeks ago. And I'll just go to the part where it shows the webcam. How about that? And I'll just play this back for you.
It's Snagit development, and that was the ability to add webcam to our videos. So let's do that. I'm going to pull up this two-slide slideshow that we had done before, and I'm actually going to reduce the size of it a little bit because when I make a video capture, I can control the size of the video. And I'm going to turn on Snagit capture window, and I'm going to choose the video option. It's going to be a region selection. I'm not going to automatically share it somewhere, although I could. But in this case, I'm going to toggle on our webcam. At this point, I can turn it on. And if I have multiple cameras plugged in, I could choose the camera at that point. In this case, I'm just going to use the built-in one on my laptop. I'm going to make sure I capture my cursor, and I'm ready to record. Of course, at this point, I want to make sure the correct microphone is chosen. For me, I have several plugged in. I'm going to make sure I pick the one that I will have sounding the best. And when I hit capture, I'm going to be presented with our crosshairs. And for me, I'm just going to capture this slide. And when I do that, I'm presented with the record screen. Hi, everybody. I'm Jason with techsmith. So we have the ability to toggle on and off your webcam right here in the preview. I can start with the recording to have the webcam on so that I can give a personal human touch to my video, and then I can toggle it on and off throughout our recording. In fact, let's do that right now. Hi, everyone. Jason with techsmith. I'm happy to be here to show you a little bit about what's new inside of Snagit 13. In fact, I want to show you everything that's new inside of Snagit 13. So we're going to go through some of the features, the redesigned UI, the customizable editor, panoramic capture capabilities, video with webcam, and animated GIFs. We think you're going to find all these tools to be...
So long story short, you can toggle back and forth between your screen recording and your webcam. And you'd be amazed at how powerful that could be, as we saw in the videos before, giving that personal human touch of, yeah, I'm a real person, and yeah, I'm sharing this information with you right now. Most requested thing inside of Snagit from the development standpoint. We We're one of those companies where we listen to what you need and we act on it as soon as we can. It's great. So it teased out one other thing that I'm going to show before I go back to the beginning, and that is the ability to create an animated GIF. Anybody know what an animated GIF is? Kind of, yep. So an animated GIF it's an image file that plays like a video that loops. Is there any sound to an animated GIF? There is not. There cannot be any sound, right? Where do we often see animated GIFs? Be honest. Facebook, Google, advertisements, social media. Creating an animated GIF used to be pretty cumbersome without a bunch of third-party software. We actually created the ability to make an animated GIF right inside Snagit. And let me show you how difficult it is. Right? So when I do Camtasia trainings, one of the things we talk about is having a clean working environment, especially if you're going to show your desktop. Now, my desktop doesn't look like Dave's. Sorry, Dave. I've got 9,000 icons, but there's a couple on here that I don't want showing. So we show people how to hide their desktop icons with a clean presentation, right? So we're going to record a video. In this case, it's going to be a region selection. I'm not going to use the webcam because you cannot inside of an animated GIF. And I'm going to record my mic, but as we know, an animated GIF doesn't have any sound, but I leave it on because I talk through my process while I'm recording, knowing that no matter what I say, it won't be captured for the animated GIF. So let's show you guys that. So I'm going to click and drag a region here. And I'm going to show you how to hide your desktop icons. Hi, everyone. It's really important when you're recording a video that shows your desktop to ensure that the area that you're showing is clean. One way of doing that is hiding your desktop icons. And here's how you do it. Simply right-click on your desktop, choose the View menu at the top, and then deselect Show Desktop Icons. Voila. Now, make sure when you're done, you repeat that process, right-click, View, Show Desktop Icons, because if you turn your computer off and then turn it back on, those icons are still going to be gone and you will freak out. Oh, by the way, when you record a video with Snagit like I just did, it's done. It's an MP4. It's ready to be shared. There's no encoding. I can share this out. I can send this to Dave. You can watch it on his phone right now. I wouldn't because it's not that exciting. So if you've used video in Snagit before, the thing that people need to know about Snagit is it's down and dirty, get in, get out video creation. The editing capabilities are this big, and they're located here. On the playhead, there's a red and green tab that are located on either side of the playhead. You can click and drag out a selection on your timeline, and you're presented with a cut option or a cancel. Cut literally cuts that out, throws it away, pushes the ends together, makes your video shorter. But there's something more powerful, and that is the ability to make an animated GIF from that. So I'm actually going to move to where I think my animated GIF is going to start. I'm going to click and drag the selection that covers everything I want it to do. It's about right there. Instead of cut or cancel, there's a little button down here that says animated GIF. Animated GIFs are best utilized when you're doing a 1 to 4 step process, typically. For example, our HR department, we use a program called ADP. It's a nightmare for entering time off, and oh, God, it's horrible. And the documentation that they've created to show us how to use it is made with Snagit. There's multiple steps. I replaced their entire page with a 16-second animated GIF walking through the great phases. Okay? Animated GIFs are best served when they're 30 seconds or less. In fact, if you make one that's longer than 30 seconds, Snagit's going to warn you that you're probably not going to have a great experience. My goal is always 20 seconds or less. And they loop. So I have my selection made here on the screen. If I click the animated GIF button, I'm given the option. Do I want to use the selection for the animated GIF or the whole video? Well, I chose the selection on purpose because that's what I want the GIF to be. I say use the selection. There are options for optimization, but because you don't know where someone's going to consume the video, I often say leave it for screen video. It's like 99% of the time that's going to work perfectly for you. But then there's this little button here that says fade to black. I always check it because have you ever walked into an animated GIF that's playing? You have no idea where the beginning was or the end was. It's just a constantly moving thing. Fade to black, actually at the very end, will just subtly fade it out and then start over. So you have a visual representation of, okay, that's the end, something started. So I choose fade to black. I hit create. I'm going to chew through that little section and create my animated GIF. And when it's done, putting it right here. Oh, I missed my second by 1. It's 20 seconds long. But what's cool is inside the editor, I can play it so I can see exactly what my audience will see. There's me deselecting show desktop icons. Real powerful and easy to do on Windows, and it doesn't matter what Windows version you're using. It's the same process. And then I probably should have cut that little section out. I talked too much for myself. But then it's going to fade, and it's going to loop in the editor just like you would see it. Animated GIFs are powerful because they're lightweight, they're small, they can go places videos can't. In fact, they can go to a lot of these places. How many of you use Outlook as your email server for school? Unfortunately, it doesn't work in those. And Microsoft knows this, and they know that we're angry about it, and we're working through our differences. How many of you use Google Slides for creating PowerPoint or PowerPoint presentations? Animated GIFs from Snagit work in Google Slides when it's presented in full presentation mode and while you're editing it, so you can see what it looks like while you're playing it. Animated GIFs will also work in PowerPoint, true PowerPoint, but not in the edit mode. In the edit mode, it'll just sit there like a still image. But when you go into full presentation mode, it plays beautiful. So one more thing I wanted to show you inside Snagit, then I think I'm going to give everybody who's local a bio break opportunity. Get up, stretch your legs, maybe refill some of the lovely. Sorry, guys, online. It's a ton of wonderful food out there. I'm just saying. Just saying. One of the most important parts of Snagit for me is this button right here. And this is a presets button. In previous versions of Snagit, this was called profiles. Basically what it does is takes a bunch of different steps, puts them together in one singular click. For example, I just did a training at the National Nuclear Security Campus in Kansas City, Missouri. I can't tell you what they make, but the things that they make no longer exist after a short period of time. They have a very stringent process for documentation. They take images, they make them look pretty, they put them in Word documents. They do this all day long, over and over and over and over. So we wanted to make it easy for those people that use Snagit as a time-saving tool to do that. So if you look down at the bottom, I don't have Word open right now, right? It's not even in my taskbar at all. But I think what I want to do is I want to create an image. It's going to be just a region selection. I'm going to add an effect to it. I'm going to add a border. And I can control what that border looks like here. Tracy, do you have a color preference for a border, not white? Purple. Purple. I'm going to use this purple border. And I'm going to make it obscenely thick. So I'm going to take a region capture. It's going to have an obscenely thick purple border. And for my shared destination, I'm going to actually have it drop right into a Word document. Let's see, Word right here. Now, because I know what kind of capture it's going to be, I already know what the effect is going to be. I'm not going to mark it up any further. I don't need to add any arrows or anything like that. I'm actually going to toggle off preview and editor, so it's going to eliminate that step. I'm not going to need to copy it to my clipboard. I'm not going to worry about my cursor, and I'm not going to worry about a time delay. Time delays are for people that want to show a cascading menu. You know, you put menu, file, open. It allows you to open all those before you capture it. And because I want this image to stay, and I want to use this over and over, right next to the presets button, there's this little plus button. If I click on that, I can say create a new preset from the current setting. So I just built the preset I wanted. I click on that. It has now created image with effect to Word. The sexiest title of a preset I've ever heard. But I'm going to change it. Word, purple, border, and I'm going to call it Tracy. I now have a preset that allows me to make that type of capture, send it to Word right away. I can initiate that capture by clicking on this and having all those prerequisites go up top. I could click the little red button to the left and start the capture from here. I can assign it its own hotkey. So maybe I know Control-Shift-Y. In fact, let's make that Control-Shift-Y. Control-Shift-Y. Now, if I ever click Control-Shift-Y, the crosshairs will come up. I'll make a capture. It'll send it to Word. What's really great is if you have a department that wants everything the same way, and you're the Snagit master, you can actually create a preset and export that setting. So maybe Kat wants something done a specific way. She wants it centered in a PowerPoint presentation. She wants this size font, whatever it is. She can create that and send it to her team. As long as team has Snagit installed, they double-click on that. It fills right into their presets. So one person creates it. This is really good if you have graphic designers on your staff, because not all of us are graphic designers, and they have color schemes that need that. Long story short, let's make this capture. So I'm going to capture TechSmith Camtasia here on the screen. I let go. Because I don't have Word open, it opens Word, drops the image in. There's my purple border there. If I had Word open, which I do now, it will make a capture and put it in the open Word document where the cursor happens to be. So if you're working on a PowerPoint presentation and you have a presentation open, you take an image capture and send it to PowerPoint, for example, instead of Word. You have to just put it on the next slide, ready for you. It's a vector form image, if you know what that means. That means if you stretch it, it doesn't pixelate. It keeps it nice and smooth. There is a ton I could show you with Snagit. But are there any questions as of right now with things that I've shared? Capabilities, application, how much it costs, anything like that that I can share with you? Yes, sir.
Talked about the video with X size or cut out. You insert, let's say you do the video and say, oh, forgot something. Go back to time frame. Because
Snagit is a basic video creation tool, no, you would need a video editor. And thankfully, we make that too.
On these websites where you have slideshow, the arrow left or right, move the panoramic, do it automatically, we still have to click next.
You would need to expose it. So when you click and drag over that area where we did the panoramic capture, it's taking 4 pictures a second. And anytime it sees a change on the screen, like if you slide or move the picture over, it's taking the next picture. I have not done a panoramic capture with a still slideshow. I don't know what that would do. That'd be very curious. It is. I guess I'd want to know the reason to capture. You just want all those individual pictures?
Yeah, not just have to go back to the website and get the next on the file. Just so
Yeah, that would get. Let me do some digging on that. I don't think I've ever personally experienced that, but I can see where that would be valuable. Are there any questions that we're seeing online?
Yes, we have a question from Alice.
Hi, Alice.
Will animated GIFs work in OneNote?
Oh, gee, I wish we could test that. So here's that animated GIF that I created of that. Let's see what the share options are. One of them is not OneNote. OneNote, Microsoft is not 100% transparent with their ability to use multimedia in all their tools. Sorry. That doesn't mean you shouldn't test it. Because we can't send it automatically doesn't mean you can't save it locally, upload it to a note, and give it a try. It's a small file. It may be worth trying.
We'll try that.
Awesome. And I would if she tries it while we're on, I'd love to hear about success.
Alice, would you let us know if it works or not?
Questions? You had one.
Is there an app where you do that on your phone?
Can you snag it on your phone?
Yeah.
No. But good
Or a
question.
tablet, or
came on how we then be on a computer.
So I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it. We have a app called techsmith Fuse, F-U-S-E. Okay. So techsmith Fuse is a free app. What it allows you to, I don't think it's peer-to-peer is blocked here. techsmith Fuse allows you to take an image or a video that you have on your phone or that you captured with your phone. And as long as your phone and the local device are on the same wireless network, you can actually connect it with that QR code, which means I would scan it, and instantly that image would transfer into Snagit. So, for example, I take a picture of the gorgeous food setup we have out front. I bring it into Snagit, and I put an arrow, move the coffee here next time. What is this yellow fruit? How come there's not more donuts? More realistic, last year I was in Sacramento for the course redesign thing for Cal State, and I was at the Getting to Know You Mixer. I met a lot of architectural professors who are going to go on a walking tour of old Sacramento. And I showed them the app because they had access. Cal State has full access to techsmith products. They have a statewide agreement. That's important. They then went through their walking tour and took still images with their phones of structural things that they wanted to talk to their students about. Came back to their hotel, sent them all into Snagit, marked them up, and had delivered content to their students while they're at a professional development conference for a week for them to consume. It's pretty cool. The other thing you can do with Snagit images and videos and animated GIFs, one of the share locations is Camtasia. So if you were going to use this video in a larger video project, you could pull that MP4 into Camtasia, cut something out, insert something.
I do almost all of my recording in Snagit, and if I'm going to edit it, I drop it into Camtasia Studio with one click.
Alice is, she will try it anyway. I will. Oh, I can't. I have Snagit 12. So, I'll put this out there. If you're an individual that has a previous version of our software and we release a new one, you are eligible for an upgrade for 50% of the cost. And because you're educators, you're eligible for 50% of the educator cost. So I think Snagit would cost you $12. $15. And you own it forever. That's not an annual fee, a monthly fee. It's a perpetual license. Buy it, you own it. But what we'll eventually get to in our conversation is this is something we think is valuable for everyone at all the campuses to use. And instead of $50 a license or $30 as an educator, what if it got down to like $2? If Fred's on, he's going to yell at me. Fred, are you on? If you are, say hi. Anyway, I'm not the salesperson. I don't like talking about that stuff, but I will. I get to talk to you about practical applications. Are there any other questions about Snagit before I start showing you the magical goodness that is Camtasia? And be aware, for those who are online, you guys are kind of my captive audience. I'm going to show you what Snagit or Camtasia looks like right now. And I will tell you that techsmith, in an unprecedented move, is starting to gather feedback on what is baking for the new version. We never show this stuff. I'm going to show you what's baking today.
We're going to get a break first.
Yeah, we're going to take a break. Are there any questions at all before we move on from the audience online or in the room about Snagit or anything we've done so far? Awesome. So I say we take about 10-minute break internally. People online, we're going to go 10 minutes. If you have questions that you want to ask now, we can unmute your mics or any clarification points. I'm happy to do that while everyone's taking their break. So feel free to keep coming in. So Mauricio is asking, is it portable like Camtasia Relay? Portable meaning like if you take a license from one computer to another? That answer is no. You can't do that. Camtasia Relay has
Very much so.
Mobile component to it, but it is not portable. It would need to be installed on the machine you were using. So hopefully that helps you answer that. So L'Oreal says, I already own Camtasia. Will it benefit me to add Snagit? Since Camtasia is a full-blown video editor and screen capture software for video, Snagit allows you to do still imagery. and animated GIFs. It's a lightweight, easy thing. You can do still image markups inside of Snagit and not in Camtasia, so it may be beneficial for those quick one-off videos. If you're already really good at Camtasia and all you're making is videos, I would stay with Camtasia. Why add something? Why spend the cost if it's not going to be beneficial to you? However, if you're able to get it as part of a consortium buy or something like that, why wouldn't you have it? Kind of one of those things. So hopefully that'll help.
Oh. Yeah, so I love it. That's all we have is dog miners.
Right.
We're innovative. We got to do something like that. We have a little more expertise.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the changes right now, it's not all. That's okay. No, I know. I have a lot of positions. Yeah. So I got it. So I know the English is what I want. I'm not right. There's right.
That's what I was You're sitting in front of the bay.
So they're talking to each other. The forces are
Well, we're going to go about 4 more minutes as we get everybody back in the room. So everybody online, about 4 more minutes, and we'll make the switch over to Camtasia.
So usually I ask the class. The online one, well, I struggle more than interesting. Yeah. Well, my also later is like, don't you time and things, but it's like, you know, when it's something so serious and you're so far away. I have just put it out there. So I'm like, what the heck? Also sharing the experiments with there are people that say, oh, yeah, it's fun.
2-minute warning. Online attendees. 2-minute warning. Are you guys finding this valuable?
Well, and the thing I'm talking to
although the free trial, they're full
She's like, yeah, but that's fun. So maybe stop. Yeah.
Negative 30. Camtasia would be 170. Like I said, it's another cost. But it's called a companion app, and it derives its value connected to available Android, iOS. You can share. I can share that with my it's just a QR code. Actually, my class and scan it, all that instant feedback, and then integrate it. Oh, yeah. I all right, let's get ourselves back over. Get ourselves going here in just a second. I can get multiple gifts. This be installed on USB. It has to be installed on an individual. However, if this would be a buy by your department of ISD, college district, whatever it is, they would have a license distributed for you. Okay. We all have. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for taking that break and coming back in a timely fashion. Surprisingly enough, whenever I present to a group of professionals or adults, this is the most challenging part. We're terrible at keeping time because, frankly, we get involved in conversations that were driven by what we talked about. So, if you could take your seats, please. I'm assuming the people at home are doing this already because I can't see that. So, before I share some about Camtasia, which is our screen recording software and full video editor, I actually have asked Tracy Shalin and Dave Giverson to talk about their experiences with it because it means one thing coming from me, it means something else coming from a peer that's actually utilized. So I think Tracy has the ability to can we make her a presenter? Are you logged into the Zoom?
Actually, I could just go up there and
Or you can do that too.
I can walk.
She can walk.
You can walk.
I think this mic is on, right? Yeah. So
It is on.
okay. So I will turn mine off. And if you want to, yep, that could be your presentation. So screen share from here. And then you would have. So I'm gonna. I have my microphone. So, ladies and gentlemen, Tracy Chapin.
Hi, everybody. So, Camtasia is my best friend. I've been using it. Do I need a, is this my? I've been using it for a couple of years now. I actually started using it when I was a certification candidate for App1. And as I was taking the App1 courses, I noticed a curious thing happening. I've been teaching online for 10 years by that point. But as a student, I noticed that the instructors who use video stuck with me. Their faces, their names, their personalities, and even the content of those courses stuck with me more because video had just heightened my experience in that class so much. And so I realized this is something I have to do with my students. So I started shooting video myself, and I just made some very basic videos, had fun with them, got great reactions from my students, and then I started really playing around with Camtasia. So now, it's one of my favorite parts of teaching. And so I'm just going to show you a couple of videos using Camtasia. And I have these stored on TACK, which is T-A-C-K-K, and they're public. So if you want to look at these later, you can. So I'm going to do a little search here for them. Oops. So, and you actually can just search for my last name in Camtasia. And you'll find quite a few of these. So, in here I have a bunch of different kinds of videos. And so I have course tour videos that I like to do at the beginning of the semester to introduce students to my course, kind of show them around, show them how to do some of the most common tasks they will need to do. And this is filmed in Camtasia. I'm going to show it to you first, and then I'll tell you what happened under the hood.
Hi there, you have a tour? We're just about to get started. I'm Tracy Chapin, and I'll do the tour. As we take a look around here in the classroom, you should stay with the group, and please don't touch this.
That's the reaction I'm going for. Before we walk through the course. All right, and then it goes into the course, which I have to completely redo. Now what was the benefit just from the viewer's point of view? You've never been in my class. You have no idea what it's about. You're about to get in there with me. How did that little front piece work for you?
That was engaging.
It's engaging?
It's different.
Different. So it got your attention, right? So do you think you might be willing to watch a little bit more of this video just because I surprised you? So if I can get your attention and kind of cut through what you're expecting to something new, then you're more likely to stay with me during the video. So I keep adding little bells and whistles as I go through just to keep people involved. So with Camtasia, I can add a little smiley face on the screen. I can add arrows. I can use thought bubbles. Or I can do what I have here, which is a green screen. So does anyone know where this is?
I do.
Where is it?
Library of Congress.
Yes, it is. It's the Library of Congress.
Oh, it's the Library of Congress.
I've never been there before, but with green screen, it looks like I'm there. So that kind of looks like what I think my classroom looks like. So I just took that picture, I put it behind me, I filmed myself using a green screen, which is way easier than it sounds, and there I am. So I've done that at the beginning of videos, usually not for the whole thing. Sometimes I'll do it in the middle or at the end, again, to keep that interest going. You also could do something like this. Congratulations, you made it to week 2. I know that the first week of the semester is challenging, but so it's kind of a game of what what's Tracy going to do next in my classes? So fireworks, no, I'm not filming this on the 4th of July because the lighting would never be that good. I went to a website that has free stock footage. There's actually a link on this tag. So if you write down the URL for this, which I'll go over again in a minute, down at the bottom there's a link to the exact place where I got this for free. It was just a download of some fireworks. They have all sorts of video backgrounds. Streams peacefully flowing behind you, birds flying over, all kinds of things. And so it's really easy to just drop one of these in behind you after you've filmed yourself. So in both of those, I'm filming myself just in front of a blank background. Not a white background though, because when I take the color out, what's going to happen to my eyes? So the way the green screen works is you put a solid color behind you, and then in Camtasia, which I think Jason will show us in a minute, you just click a button that says remove a color. You pick the color you want to remove, and it's gone. So if I do white, it's going to take away all the white in my clothes, the white in my eyes, my teeth. It'll be a cool effect, but it's not what I'm going for here. So a green screen is this really obnoxious color of green that it's safe, it's not anywhere on you. And if it is, I'm not sure where you would buy a shirt that was that color. But they also have blue screens in Hollywood. Again, kind of an obnoxious shade. So all you do is just take that color out, and then, boop, there you are.
Bonus question. Does anybody know why you use either a green screen or a blue screen to do what Tracy's describing?
Because all the reasons Tracy just said when you were out of the room.
What did she say?
So your teeth here?
That's part of it. Because green and blue are the farthest hues from any human skin tone there are in the world. If you're green or blue, there's probably something you need to have addressed. But that's fine.
You're a little green. You're like it's blue. This one is just a very simple webcam, kind of like what Jason was talking about before. It's just webcam only. I like to use these for announcements. But again, I'm trying to be a little creative with how I'm using that screen opportunity. Hi, everybody. I know this is a busy time of the semester, and the heat has not helped. So I just wanted to give you a virtual high five for all the hard work you've put in so far. You're almost there with your first essay. It is due on Saturday. And then I get into telling them all the things they need to remember to do with their essay. But first I started by connecting with them, right? And this is a one-time use video, unless I happen to be teaching a class again during a heat wave. So that's just the kind of thing that I can do to make it feel like I'm immediately there with my students. So I'm in there with them, I'm empathizing with them, and then I'm telling them, even though it's hot, even though it's busy, here are the things that you do yourself. And then the last one in this collection, oh no, I lied. Like Jason. This one is a content video, an introduction to something we'll be studying. Welcome to a new week. As we read works of modernism over the next 2 weeks, think about how this literary movement developed. How was it a response to a world at war? So in this one, I'm actually just using PowerPoint slides. So this was for a class that originally was an on-ground class. I brought it over to an online environment, and regular PowerPoints just really don't work well in an online environment. They're meant to have a person there with them. And so using Camtasia, you can actually be there with your slides. I had a few other things to do too, like you'll notice there's not a lot of text on these slides. Why not? What happens if you're listening to someone talk about a slide and you're trying to read all the text on the slide? You can't do both, right? It's overload. So your brain is trying to do both at the same time, and it's not doing either one well. At least for me, I don't know. So I took out a lot of the words from those slides, and guess what? Those were my speaking notes for the video. So I could reuse everything. I just repackaged it for an online environment. And so these PowerPoint slides then give me an opportunity to discuss things visually in a way that I used to be unable to do in an online environment. So if this were an art class, I could actually use arrows and circles and point things out on this work of art. But this is a literature class, so what I ended up doing is this. By the way, I was lucky enough to see La Guernica in Madrid. So then I go ahead and talk about it in terms of its human impact and then connect that into what we're going to study. And there are a couple of videos here as well about how to navigate our course. So for example, I have one on how I give feedback and how they can find it and how they can make the most of it. So these how-to videos, I walk them through how to find it. Hi everybody, I am happy to report that your essays are ready for your review. So I walk them through where to go, what to click on. You can spotlight things like I'm doing here with Camtasia. And then I can show them a sample paper and discuss how I graded and show them what they need to be aware of when they're looking through their graded papers and so on. So I also have some green screen resources. So this is just a general tack of videos. This one is actually, simplify the name for today. Oops. So if you want to just jot this down, as big as I can here.
Tag.com.
Tag.com, Camtasia. And then the other one that I actually just gave a presentation on last week that I'll share with you too, because it's also out there, is the same tag.com and then OTC 16 for the Online Teaching Conference. And this one is all about green screening. And so if you're interested in how to green screen, you're welcome to use this as a resource. It has the slides that I used for that presentation, which have lots of screenshots that are using Snagit with arrows to show you what button to press and what to do next. And then also down at the bottom, after some green screen videos, a few from the other, a couple of new ones, under resources, there's a link to the Fuse app that Jason was talking about. So I use this often, but I always have. So I can take videos, I can take pictures. When I get back to my computer, I just wirelessly send them over. And then underneath that is a place you can go for images that you can use legally and free, as well as the stock footage. So this is the link to where I got those fireworks. And there's some other stuff in here. Yes, there's an online teleprompter you can use if you're interested. I have a link to the tutorials because that's actually where I learned how to make these. I didn't go to any special training. I just used the great tutorial resources that Camtasia has and learned how to green screen. And then down at the very bottom, if you have any questions or want to contact me to share a fabulous video you made, I'm always happy to hear from you. There's a contact. And there's also a comment stream where people at the OTC committed to sharing their videos. Some of you were there. And if you weren't, you're welcome to share them too. So that was my very quick overview into how I use videos. It has completely changed how I teach, much for the better. And my students just love it. They think it feels like an interactive class, even if they've never met me face to face. But some of them do find me on campus. They run into me and they say, oh, "It's you!" And you give me a hug. It's like we've been friends forever because that's how connected they feel. And I don't even necessarily know which of my students that is unless they've been using video, because I encourage them to use it as well. But that's the kind of connection that you get with students who feel like you're in there talking to them all the time. So that's why I'm here. Okay, so any questions before I get out of the way, Lindy?
Yeah, no, that's great on the online. Do you incorporate that into your face-to-face classes still?
Actually, I'm not currently teaching any face-to-face classes, but yes, I use it everywhere.
Yeah, no,
so,
I can see how.
Right, because, well, like Jason talking about with flipped classroom, you can really do that in almost any class. And one of the benefits of using video is if somebody missed it during the one-time presentation of it face-to-face, it lives on in the course shell if you have a web enhanced course or a website if you want to put it there. And so they can go back to that over and over again and look at it throughout the semester. All right.
Right on. Thank you, Tracy. So before I show at all, I now want to invite up Dave. So Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, Dave, has been using Camtasia Studio before it was even named Camtasia Studio.
Right.
So almost pre-version 1. So Dave, go ahead and have at it.
Well, I'm not even going to try to show any of my screencasts because they won't stand up very well to Tracy's. But I have been screencasting for almost 25 years. I started out with a VCR and a video scan converter and a microphone. And about...
What's a VCR?
About 17 years ago now, I think, a upstart company called TechSmith popped up on the screen with a product called Camtasia. Not Camtasia Studio, just plain old Camtasia. They never have told me what it means, what the name is. No, that's a company secret. But this just transforms screencasting, the ability to record from within a software application without a whole lot of video stuff cluttering up the landscape was just revolutionary. That was probably the single defining moment in my career as an instructional technologist, when I realized what you could do. And then they even made it possible to stream this stuff online. That was unheard of in those days. That you could create video yourself, that you could then share with people across the internet without them having to download. It would take an hour to download a gigantic AVI file. So I'm usually a little more circumspect in this, but I'm going to speak plainly today. TechSmith is a company I have enjoyed and been very grateful to work with for all these years. They've always treated us well. Their products have always been the best in the area that they compete in. Their screencasting products are the Cadillacs. There are lots of ways to make screencasts these days with free and inexpensive tools. The TechSmith products are quite simply the best. They're the top of the line. And yet they're still very easy to use, very easy to learn to use, which is supposed to be impossible to have both, but they manage it somehow. I've always suspected somebody making a deal with the devil, but they manage it, however they do. And we use all of their products here at the SDCCD, just about. We use Snagit, we use Camtasia Studio, we even have a couple of copies of Camtasia Mac. We have a Camtasia relay system, which is an exceptionally handy, lightweight server-based screencasting system that any of you are welcome to have access to. And I include folks attending from other institutions as well. If you'd like to have a Camtasia relay account, just call or email me, Dave Giverso, DGIVERSO @sdccd.edu. Marvelous tool. But these things form the center of our video production efforts, particularly the Camtasia Studio application. Everything pretty much funnels into that and then goes out from there, even if the content is not created in that application. That's what Jason's about to show you, so I'm not going to spend time doing that. But it is quite simply the best and most powerful screencasting tool in existence. The only thing that's prevented us from using it more is that the educational price is $179. So we'll have more conversation about that. But we do have it. We do still have a lot of copies of it. And we could not live without it. We do, I'll add to the wonderful resources that Tracy shared. Those of you who may not be familiar with our presentations here at SDCCD. No, I don't want to read this. We do have a video production how-to website. website was designed by my colleague Katie, who's sitting over in the corner. And all of us have helped to populate it with lots of content. The name, Get Real, is an inside joke. You'll see it when you get in there. This website starts off by asking you, what do you want to do with video? It gives you a series of possible use cases. Obviously not an exhaustive and exclusive set, but a number of things that you can do with video. And in each of those work cases, there'll be links, like give a course orientation that Jason mentioned, to workflows that will show you how to do it, like Snagit to YouTube. And when you're ready to practice, you'll find all the videos you need linked and so on. Some of them ours, some of them techsmith. And using this, you can start with what you want to do and move right through to how am I going to do it. For reference content, we also have same URL without the get real, sdccdol.vid.org is our on-demand video site. It's just a WordPress site that has literally hundreds and hundreds of instructional videos of all sorts on it, including things covering topics we've talked about here today. You can search most any topics or access through the menus. So, that's really about all I had to say. Any questions?
Jason? Thank you, Dave, very much. So,
pleasure.
I can't speak to it like that. So, thank you so much for Tracy and Dave sharing their experiences. So,
and just one thing, Jason, speaking of sharing,
yeah,
we're allowed to use that. We at other colleges are allowed to use that wonderful website you guys created, right? Yes.
Of course.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That's why I showed it. We'd love to have you use those websites. And as I say, if you want a Camtasia Relay account, just contact me.
I refer faculty to that website all the time, especially people who are brand new to it, because it walks you through so clearly and gives you so many resources. I'm really great at that website.
Okay, thank you guys so much. So what I'd like to do now is show you Camtasia. And this is not going to be a training on Camtasia. We do those. Typically it's one day for getting started and one day for a deeper dive. But I wanted to show you what is possible with Camtasia. I'm going to show you the editor, what it looks like, because a lot of people open that and immediately get frightened. I'm going to demystify it for you. And then I'm going to make a video right now, show you what that's like. Fair enough? All right. Can you guys see that screen okay, or is it kind of washed out a little bit? All right? Okay, great. So the first thing I'm going to do is, I'm not going to show you the editor so much, even though that's it. I'm going to shoot a video first. Hope you're ready. I'm going to click record the screen. I'm going to do a full screen recording. I'm going to turn the webcam on, but I think it's going to fight. Is there a way for me to disconnect my webcam?
From Zoom?
From Zoom.
Try just muting your video.
Stop
Down
video?
the lower, yeah.
All right, let's see. No, it still thinks it's there.
No, it's good. It's taking control of it.
So,
sorry.
That's okay. Ordinarily, I'll just turn it back on for that matter. Ordinarily, there's lots of schools of thought on webcam. We've talked about the value of that personal piece. With Camtasia, I always record my webcam. Always. I may not always use it when I'm done, but it's better to have had it recorded and want to use it than to have not recorded it and wish I had. If that makes sense. Make sure my audio's on, and we're just going to make a down and dirty screen recording. Hi, everyone. You know what? I'm not even ready. And that's okay because it's a video editor. I can start the recording and then get my stuff ready. And I'll tell you why I'm doing this in a second. Hi, everyone. We wanted to let you know that as a TechSmith customer or even someone trying our free trials that we want to support you in what you're doing. And one of the ways we do that is by providing tutorials, free tutorials. The way to get to them is real easy. Go to techsmith.com, select the help menu at the top, slide down and select tutorials. Upon clicking tutorials, you're presented with all of our products. And in this case, we're talking about Camtasia, our Windows version. Here you have a series of videos. In fact, there's 8 at the beginning that are the Starting Here series. They're small, digestible chunks, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes on various topics. And if and when you're ready, you can move down further to a whole series of the Tools of the Trade videos. Maybe you've only got 2 minutes to learn about grouping. We've got a video for you. Maybe you want to learn about quizzing and the quizzing capabilities. We have those available to you as well. Videos, including the download of the video, and sometimes we even provide you with the script of the project we use so you can try it yourself. Thanks for watching. Hope you found this useful. Hi, everyone. You know what? I'm not even ready. That's okay because it's a video editor. I can start the recording. When you make a video, you're presented with a preview window, and that's what that looks like. This is your opportunity to make sure it looks kind of the way you wanted it to look initially, and you have some decisions to make. If this is good enough, which mine isn't, because I kind of goofed up again, but if it was, I could simply click on the Produce button down here in the bottom right-hand corner and start the process of turning it into an MP4 and sending it wherever I want to, YouTube, to my server. If this is the worst thing I've ever done and I don't want it to see the light of day, there's a delete button right here. No harm, no foul. But for the majority of you, including the stuff Dave and Tracy discussed, you would do this. You would click Save and Edit. And you would save your recording file. And I'm not going to get into all the specifics of the naming conventions. We can get into that. I'll call this SDCCD. And what happens is it takes that recording, sends it into the Camtasia Studio Editor. This is where Trenton's going to earn his money. You ready? All right. So this is the Camtasia Studio Editor. There are 3 major parts of it. The upper left-hand corner is called the Clip-In Library Tool Space. This is where all the media parts of your project are going to be kept. In this case, there's only one thing in there. It's the screen recording I just did. Okay? Had I got the webcam to work, if it wasn't on Zoom, you'd also have a video of me from the webcam. If I wanted to bring in still images, PDFs, other videos that I've sourced from other places, music backgrounds, any of those sorts of types of media, all of those would be in here. And in here is also the library. Dave, could you click on the library? Captain? Thank you. So inside the library, pre-installed, when you load Camtasia, is a series of resources like Tracy was speaking about. Animated and still backgrounds, royalty-free music backgrounds with short, medium, and long and intro versions, all of which are royalty-free that you can use. You just can't claim them as your own. But you can also add things to your library as you go through your collection. So if Tracy downloaded that free open source fireworks video, she can add it to her library to use at another time. And there are all the tools, and we won't get into all of them. There's call-outs, zooming and pan, quizzing is in there, captions, and captioning are in there. We'll talk about some of those. To the upper right-hand corner is what we call the preview window, also known as the canvas. This is what your video actually looks like. So as you make edits to it, if you add call-outs, animations, you'll be able to see exactly the representation of what is going to be in your final video. Caveat is you're shooting HD video here, and most webcams are HD. So the playback may look a little jittery in the playback itself while you're editing, but when you produce it out, it looks, I'm going to use this phrase, and I promised myself I wouldn't anymore, smooth as butter. It'll look okay. Because you can have multiple videos playing on the screen at the same time. In fact, people like Tracy have actually had their green screen up and referred to videos on the screen and had them all playing like in little thumbnails and allowed the students to click on ones that they wanted to use. So tool bin, library, clip bin, canvas, and then at the bottom here is what's called the timeline. Each individual track, in this case there's one track, is a recording or a piece of media. It's a linear editor. Fancy way of saying it starts at 0 minutes, 0 seconds, plays to the right in increasing time increments. Start, end, and it ends wherever your video ends. You can have multiple tracks, meaning multiple images, multiple videos, multiple spoken tracks. All those things are built in here. Had my webcam been turned on, there would have been a second track here of my webcam. And do you know what these things are right here, these little white spikes? It's audio, correct, right? The audio would actually be in my webcam itself. And in this case, it's just baked in to the background. And if I want to separate those, I could. Kudos to my Vanna, Dave. So if he clicks on that, he can do it this time if he wants. He can separate the audio and video so that should I decide I want to edit those separately, I could. I'm going to do some basic edits to this. I'm not necessarily going to teach you how to do it, but I want to show you what's possible. Fair enough? All right. So in and of itself, thank you, Dave, this video is okay, but remember I did that really annoying loud clapping noise? Does anybody know why I did that?
You made a mistake.
I made a mistake.
You did it in the end.
Yeah. It's a referenceable point. I can look at the track down here and find out where those giant spikes are. And quite obviously, I'm a loudspeaker. I think one spike is here.
Hi, everyone.
Okay. So at this point, I'm ready for my video to start. Everything before that, I don't need anymore. So much like we showed you in Snagit, there's a red and green tab on the inside of the playhead where you can click and drag a selection. I'm just going to delete this because I don't need it. So I'm going to show you this. I do. Inside of Camtasia, there's two ways to delete something. There's one that's called a delete and one that's called a ripple delete or a cut. If I hit delete, that is now gone. And the beginning of my video looks like this. God, that's engaging. Oh, no, wait for it. It gets better. Watch. Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
Oh, there it is. So if you delete something, it literally pulls it off of your screen. Let's undo it by clicking the undo button.
And this is the best feature in Camtasia Studio. When
Undo.
you inevitably screw up, it keeps several levels of undo. You can go back to the last unscrewed up point and proceed from there.
And if you're a keyboard shortcut person, Control-Z, which undoes everything does things, it works the same in here. So instead of hitting delete, I'm going to actually use the little scissors key. Watch what happens. It's still going to pull that thing out, but watch what happens. It removes it and the space. It takes everything from the right and moves it to the left. What's real important is if you have added components to your video later on, it'll keep those all in sync so that it doesn't look like you've made a bad overdubbed 70s Kung Fu movie. Or you have a bad driver and anything. So I've cut that off, and now we're just going to start our video.
Hi, everyone.
But for me, that's a little abrupt starting. So I'm going to go into my tools here, and I'm going to use a transition tool. Now, transitions, much like when you all first started to use PowerPoint, were ways that you were able to bridge the gap between switching slides. Spinning, iris, barn door, all those are in there. I encourage you to be very delicate in your use of transitions. There are ones that I consider, personal opinion, consider professional, and ones that I consider fun. In this case, I'm going professional, and I'm going to click and drag the fade in, right down onto my timeline, right onto the beginning of the video. So now my video starts like this.
Hi everyone. We wanted to let you know that as a
already there's a level of polish that the video didn't have before. Now, I'm going to speak to one other thing before I start editing. The microphone I used was the built-in mic in the computer. Okay, you can do that. I encourage you to use it every time. If you have a USB-based microphone available to you, it could be something as basic as, oh, I travel with this one all the time. It's just a Logitech USB-based headset. The joke I make, and this ages myself, it's the a la 1988 Blonde Ambition Tour Madonna one.
That's the first mic I got.
I think it's $32. I also have my Cadillac. I have an Audio Technica 2020 USB Plus sitting at home. It's a high-end mic, but it's also USB. Has anybody ever attended a webinar before? Leave the people on. If you are able to see the webinar, but you can't hear the people, you turn it off. If you can't see the webinar really well, but you can still hear them, the better chance you're going to stay at least remotely engaged because you can hear them. The audio quality you will get from a USB microphone, whether it's $20 or $6,000, don't buy a $6,000 mic. It's worth it to you. That being said, I broke my own rule and used my onboard mic. Why is that bad? I can hear the fan, I can hear the ambient noise. Just, that's my public service announcement. All right. The power of Camtasia really lies in the editor. So I'm going to just shrink it down a little bit for me because it's being obscured by the Zoom stuff. Zoom is powerful, but Zoom is in my way. Okay. So this video is showing a lot of details, right?
customer or even someone trying our free trial, that we want to support you in what you're doing.
Talking about very specific parts of the screen. So let's lean on the editor a little bit. At some point I said visit www.techsmith.com.
The way to get to them is real easy. Go to techsmith.com.
So right there I talk about going to techsmith.com. So I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to use my zoom and pan and apply a zoom to that section of the screen. We won't go in too far.
The way to get to them is real easy. Go to techsmith.com.
Okay. So just by adding a visual change, I was able to draw the attention of my viewer to that part of the screen. I could get even deeper. I could add a call out, some sort of arrow pointing to it. I could have a rectangle drawn around it at the same time I zoom in to really draw in on that. But I'm going to use one of my new favorite tools, and that is the Spotlight tool. So let's see, when it zooms in.
The way to get to them is real easy. Go to TechSmith.
So right when I start talking about go to techsmith.com, I'm going to go to my call out menu. And at the bottom here is one called Spotlight. And I'm simply going to highlight the area of the website. And I'm going to intensify the darkness of the rest of the screen so that they have no choice but to see what I am talking about. So let's see what that looks like in our preview window.
The way to get to them is real easy. Go to techsmith.com, select the Help menu at the top.
Oh, but I said select the Help menu. I can't see that. Spotlight's kind of blocking it. So
select the Help menu at.
I can actually take that Spotlight and add a visual property animation to it. Meaning I'm going to tell Camtasia to move that highlight to this part of the screen and reference what I'm talking about. So we'll say, see how big it is up there. So now my video.
Go to techsmith.com, select the Help menu at the top, slide down and select Tutorials.
But I want it to stay highlighted, so I'm just going to elongate where it's staying highlighted.
Select Tutorials.
Now we've created a video that draws the attention in, eliminates the other noise on the screen so they're really focusing on what I presented. But now I'm too far zoomed in. I can't see the whole screen. It's not a problem. All I need to do is click on that screen recording track, go back to my zoom and pan, and and go back to full screen recording. So now let's see what it looks like.
The way to get to them is real easy. Go to techsmith.com, select the Help menu at the top.
I already don't like how long it took.
Select the Help menu at the top, slide down and select Tutorials.
And because I have an editor, I can make these adjustments on the fly.
Upon clicking Tutorials, you're presented with all of our products.
So I can then walk through and add, like I said, arrows, pause the video, anything I want to do to make that video more engaging. Because this isn't a training session, I don't want to walk through all of those steps. But let's just pretend the video is done. I'm ready. I then would come up here to the top and go to my Produce and Share, and I'm presented with the production wizard and a lot of options for things to go. Okay. The top options at the top of the list are all cloud-based options. So TechSmith Relay, Screencast.com, Vimeo, Google Drive, YouTube, even my places. If your campus is using Office 365, SharePoint, stuff like that. Is anybody using Office 365 or SharePoint? All right? The campuses?
We have it available.
Which do you use?
I use SharePoint.
Okay, cool. The only reason I ask that is because it's becoming more prevalent in higher ed, but it's still a small subset. I'm not a fan of it because it doesn't work the way I want it to outside of our stuff. But I'm happy to hear that people are using it because there is a really good place for it. So you can send it up to the cloud and share it that way. How many of you use an LMS? So Dave, I know there's a server, a media server that's available. So he would save his video, or you would, as an MP4, meaning it's a local, ubiquitously played media file, where you can choose it with or without a smart player.
Yeah, we would do it, we would go to custom production settings, and there you are.
Thank you.
And select a typical profile and create a hybrid HTML5 Flash video. And almost everything that goes on our media server goes through that production process, so we have consistent playback format. And that playback format is compatible with any computer and with almost any mobile device. So that's why we go through the custom production.
So Dave was saying custom productions. Remember when I was showing you Snagit earlier and we had those presets so you could have a consistent feel? Camtasia at the very bottom has custom production settings. So if you want a particular size video, you can do that. Let's just say I'm going to save it to my desktop. So I'm going to make it an MP4 real quick. I would title it whatever title I happen to want. We'll save it right to my desktop. Easily found. And then it begins the rendering and coding. So this is what's different with Camtasia as opposed to Snagit in terms of video. Snagit makes the video in MP4 as you're making it. So as soon as you hit stop, the MP4 is ready to go. It's encoding on the fly. Camtasia takes a little longer because it's expecting you to add elements to it. Callouts, sound, video, all those things coming into play. And then the speed, this is kind of fast. I'll show you what we're doing with that in a second. But once it's done, there's that video.
We wanted to let you know that as a TechSmith customer, or even someone trying our free trials, that we want to support you, what you're doing. And one of the ways we do that is by providing tutorials, free tutorials. The way to get to them is really easy. Go to techsmith.com, select the Help menu at the top.
So that is the video I created. And you kind of heard that fuzziness. It's because I'm really loud. I want to make sure I was projecting in here. So I actually could go into here and adjust the levels inside of Camtasia. Calm it down a little bit if I wanted to. So there's a few things I want to talk about inside of Camtasia that are pretty valuable to educators. There are 4 parts of Camtasia that are called interactive features. In order for those interactive features to work, you have to host your video in one of three places. One of them would be TechSmith Relay, or if you have Camtasia Relay. TechSmith Relay is what Camtasia Relay became. You could host it at streamcast.com, which is our hosting solution. There's a free educator version, and there's a paid version when you run out of bandwidth. It's not too bad. Or, in the case of most schools, host the video on your own media server. And that will allow these four features to work. One is interactive hotspots. That means I could put an image or something as simple as a shape on my video and make that a clickable spot. Literally, click here for more information. Or maybe I want that to link to a website outside of my video. Maybe I want it to skip around in time within the video, which I typically, it's like, I'll make 10-minute videos, and if you're only doing this portion of the project for me, click this button to go right to where you need to consume that time. So, interactive hotspots. It allows for a table of contents to be created. So if you have a lengthy video, the students will be able to search based on your markers. Or if you're using PowerPoint and use our PowerPoint plugin, it will label the table of contents based on the titles of your slides. It also allows for the interaction of quizzing, meaning you can embed quizzes all throughout your video for student consumption. Multiple choice, true, false, short answer, which can all be graded, or fill in the blank, multiple choice, true, false, short, fill in the blank can all be graded, and then there's a short answer option. And then the ultimate one is it supports caption. Lots of different ways you can caption. If you use PowerPoint presentation and use presenter notes and you capture PowerPoint, Camtasia will recognize those as your notes and ask you if you want to use those as your captions. If you train your machine, you can use speech to text because Camtasia taps into Windows, the Windows operating system, and allows you to do a speech to text conversion. It takes time to train it. It's still editable, so it will not always get those words right. Punctuation, capitalization. That goes for our product, Dragon Speak Naturally, any one of them. They're all, I've trained with this machine for 16 hours, and I put myself in the probably high 80s of accuracy. It'll recognize Camtasia. It'll recognize anti-disestablishmentarianism. It will recognize my last name, Velas. I'm working on it. If you are a person that scripts your videos, it types it in like a Word document or something like that. You can copy and paste that in and then manually sync those captions up. If we get to it, I can show you what that actually looks like, but that's kind of a training.
We do have that training video online.
They've done it. A lot of people will host their videos on like a Vimeo or a YouTube. When you upload a video from us or any other service to those web-based video clients, they re-encode the video to play in their player. What that means is it strips out any piece of interactivity. So if you caption it in Camtasia and upload it to YouTube, those captions will not be there. You can export those captions and upload them to the YouTube, right?
That's the workaround. It's very quick.
It's just a couple extra steps.
Yeah.
It would strip out on any of the quizzing. It would strip out the hotspots. But anything that you've baked into the video, transitions, call-outs, animations, those would all work just fine.
I don't want to put you on the spot about this, but
Too
we
late.
have a question about this, sir.
Yeah.
There is an option in the when you're publishing to YouTube. There's an option in Camtasia Studio that you can check. It says send the captions to YouTube, and that did used to work.
YouTube broke it.
And YouTube broke it sometime. Is there any prospect of that coming unbroken? Or?
That would be a Google question.
Gotcha.
So what happens, for those, as you should be, captions are typically used in video in two different file formats. One's called an SRT file. One's called a SAMI file, S-A-M-I. Those are the two universally accepted file formats. We do both of them. YouTube They don't have to answer with us, unfortunately. They have their own speech-to-text editor and caption editor. So if you live and breathe in YouTube, you can certainly make your video in Camtasia and send it up and caption it in YouTube. I recommend not using the automatic captioning and leaving it alone, because most likely every third word you say will be captioned as a swear word. They have billions of users, but not a lot of people are going in and making the changes. If you teach from a PowerPoint and use our PowerPoint plugin, which automatically gets installed, meaning you open up PowerPoint and you hit record inside of PowerPoint, Camtasia will capture it, and it'll capture your presenter notes as the captions if you want. If you speak the word and it's referenced somewhere on your slide, and then you make that correction, it learns. It learns based on context. Hence the reason anti-disestablishmentarianism is corrected every time for me, because I've typed it out 1,000 times, because I like saying anti-disestablishmentarianism. That's way deeper in captions than I want to get, but it's okay.
It's a big topic.
It's in California, it's the topic. When we started having these conversations 3 years ago, I did a presentation at, I won't name the school, Coastline, and it was kind of like this, where we were able to invite a lot of different districts to come in. We had a lot of department heads who even at that time could not agree together on what 508 compliance meant. And it both scared me and intrigued me, because this is an opportunity for us to help define what that means. Right? Some said everything's got to be captioned, which I believe is the law. Some said you don't have to if a student doesn't claim the need for it. If they then claim the need, you have a 48-hour turnaround time. I'm not a lawyer. I just know you can do it with our stuff, and if it's easy enough to do once, why not do it every time and not worry about it? Questions from the room so far?
Do you have a video you can show with the quiz embedded?
Normally I would say yes, or I could just make one too.
I just want to see what it looked like on the plays.
Sure. So the question was, do you have a video with a quiz embedded? Let's just add one. So I'm going to go to the quizzing thing, and wherever I put my playhead, where the quiz will be embedded, let's say we'll put it right here. Add a quiz. We'll just name it quiz 1. And the question will be true, false. Jason is awesome. Question mark. Each instance can be called a quiz, but each quiz can have multiple questions to it. These do not automatically feed gradebooks. Okay? What they do, unless you use Camtasia or TechSmith Relay, they feed right into Canvas, real easy. Blackboard, pretty easy. Desire to learn, not yet.
Next question.
No, I can do them. I can do 3 true, false in a row, and then a multiple choice. Yeah, I can do that. And if it's gradable, which this one can be, you can choose the correct answer here as you create your quiz. So we'll just put one quiz. We will put one quiz in here and produce this out, and then I think there's questions in the chat, so I promise I will get to you guys. I'm going to select produce and share, and because it's an interactive feature, it has to have one of those 3 things, either hosting on screencast.com. I'm going to put it on screencast.com because that's what we're using. Just send it up. So when you upload this, it actually will encode the video, and then it has to render it, and then it'll upload it. So it takes a little extra time. When you make a quiz, it's going to say, do you want the results sent to you? And in this case, I'm going to say, yeah. What happens is, as the quiz gets taken, all the scores are compiled. They're kept individual for individual students, but at the end of the day that the quiz was first taken, at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, you as the content creator will get an email with the results. And it will deliver you a very specific URL. Once you have that URL, that web address, you can save it, because every time a quiz is taken after you receive that URL, it's updated in real time. And you'll get results based on that. You'll be able to look at it based on quiz questions and whatnot. You also can decide whether or not you want the viewers to give their name and email address, who took the quiz, Or if you want them to take it anonymously, in this case I'll say I want them to put their name. You can also adjust the quiz appearance, the wording that shows up on the screen, what the buttons say and whatnot. I'll just leave them as the default. Oh, techsmith, I don't even know who that company is. So we'll render that video up. Other questions while that's rendering in the room? Let's take a look online here real quick.
It is possible to embed a
You're welcome,
Camtasia Studio video quiz in it in the Blackboard as a SCORM object
that will
and have the grade actually entered automatically into your Blackboard grade center.
There are workarounds to workarounds to workarounds. There's a lot of things you can do to make sure that works. As an instructor, when I used quizzing in my videos, I typically didn't use it as a graded thing. I used it to check for understanding. Long story short was, if I put a video out on a Monday, the students had till Thursday night to watch it, and we had class maybe Friday morning, I would look at the results throughout that week and say, well, I gave a 10-question quiz throughout a 6-minute video. Everybody missed number 6. I'm going to disregard everything else, and I'm going to focus in on 6. Did I teach it wrong? Was the information wrong? Did I word the question wrong? I'm going to open up class on Friday with just that topic and then move forward. It gives me that response intervention right away. But there's a video with the quiz. Remember I said I made my person, oh, looks like my wife is taking it. But I'll put my home address just for fun. Submit and view quiz. When you have a video that has a quiz in it,
Hi, everyone. We wanted to let you know
quiz will show up as a dot.
when trying our free trials that
I don't know if you can see that down here.
and one of the ways we
The plan gets to that point,
a series of videos.
it stops. The options presented to the viewer are these. Take the quiz or replay the last section. No chance of passing over they have to go in and take the quiz. So take quiz now. Jason is awesome. True or false? We know it's true, but I'm going to say false. And I'm going to submit the answers. It shows I only have one quiz question, so I got out lucky. I can either continue to review my answers and, oh, I got it wrong. Your right answer was true, but I just.
In fact, there's 8 at the beginning that are the starting.
Tonight, 6 o'clock, here, I'll get an email with that quiz result in it. In fact,
Can they
go ahead.
answer that? Do you have the option to re-answer that question?
You do not in our service.
And then when they answer that question, can we offer them any feedback on that?
No, that's one of the shortcomings we have because we're trying to make a tool that was all-encompassing, and there are things we do really well. Dave spoke that really well, and there are things that we aren't experts at. And results and the LMS building and that interactive is not things we're really good at.
It's okay because you can describe it now going forward. You can have some questions.
Correct. And I had a result that emailed to me yesterday, and I apologize, I don't have it. I could share that with you, but all those are also available on our tutorial website, exactly what those look like.
As you can imagine, people who make this software use it to show you how to use the software.
You ever seen the movie Inception? We use Camtasia to teach you how to use Camtasia.
Teach you how to use Camtasia.
And some of those tutorials have the project files associated with them. So let's say, for example, there's a tutorial on how to change audio settings. There's call-outs and animations. If you like how that video looks, and we give you the project file, download that project file and use it as your template. Toss our stuff, put your own in. Even as an educator, TechSmith was a company to me that didn't sell you something and say, thank you for your money, good luck. Do we need to sell software? Yes, we do. But as soon as I sell it to you, first I'm going to make sure you're buying the right thing. Second, I'm going to say, what are you doing with it? I want you to show me. Third, I'm going to bug you all the time, Tracy, to present for us on our behalf, Tracy. Like she may have already done twice this year. We aren't successful unless you are successful. The only reason I'm going to do what I Sir, question? No. Oh, no. The question inevitably becomes, what does this cost? For an individual, it's $300. For an educator, it's $179. And it is like saying it is a perpetual license. You buy it, you own it forever. If you buy it in bulk, like a department does or a campus does, that price plummets to numbers I can't even tell you, like sub 50, sub 40 per person. If multiple campuses buy it in a consortium style, it's dang. I don't even want to say that. It's pretty close to like the $1 or $2 license. No, individual schools have some licensure. I don't even know what San Diego's licensure is because I don't deal with that. Most likely, if you called your IT department, they may have a license in the office which you can use. The thing that I find real valuable about California and the fact that you are training and teaching students and sending them on to four-year universities. In this case, a lot of them are going to CSU. Any of the CSU campuses, your students are going to start seeing content delivered utilizing these tools because they have full access to it. It's kind of one of those thought processes where it'd be nice to have that consistency. And you would then be the only system in the country, like CSU is the only four-year university system, that would have a ubiquitous tool that everyone would utilize. Just a thought process. If you're interested in what that looks like for your campus or what it would look like overall, I'll put up my email address here in a minute, and you can send me an email because I think what Fred's our account executive for California, for the West Coast, and he was supposed to be in with us, but he and his wife are on baby watch, and frankly, I'm going to give him a pass because unless he just tagged me, right? Oh, he's here. I'm remote. So, Fred, would you be willing to unmute yourself and talk to us about just lightly what this could look like for people? Because we're talking about the Community College Consortium. So, Fred, if you're there, if you'd be able to unmute yourself. If you can't, I will do it.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear him. Can we turn his volume up by any chance for the room?
Let's see. Why don't you unshare your screen?
All right. I'm going to unshare my screen.
And
Fred, go ahead and talk again.
Can you hear me okay?
A little bit. We'll bring you up.
I can try to raise my voice and talk a little louder here.
You're good. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Fred Stacks.
Hey, everyone.
Account executive for TechSmith. There's 2 account executives for the whole world. Matt Dennis, who handles East Coast stuff. Fred. There's Fred. Hey, Fred. We got you. Fred, is Casey behind you, or is he not there?
He had to step out for the afternoon, so he's not in today.
So Casey is his cohort. There's only so many of us associated with education. So thanks for joining us, Fred. So before I show them what I think I'm going to show them coming up, can you speak to us in general terms what it would look like and what would need to happen if people were interested in acquiring TechSmith solutions widespread?
Yeah, sure. So we would want to find out what colleges would be interested in doing a consortium type deal. And then from there we would try to get a count of your full-time and part-time faculty and staff. We'd work out basically a combined number for all the colleges combined. And from there we could work individually with the colleges on contracts individually with each school rather than as a consortium as a whole, but apply that discount as if it was a whole consortium deal, if that makes sense.
Well, we do have I'm Katz, I'm the Dean for Online and Distributed Learning at San Diego Community College District, and I would like to propose, I guess, to the Foundation for California Community Colleges that they get in touch with you to negotiate the prices for the consortium, California Community Colleges Consortium.
Okay.
That's kind of where we've been talking about this since day one with Anna and the App One as the training arm of the state for the community college system. They tend to live and breathe the tools that make it easy for people to create, and that's how we got connected with them and got connected with Tracy. And small world later, possibilities are pretty endless. It doesn't have to be an all-in thing, right, Fred?
Right.
But if it is all in, I think, and correct me if and when I'm wrong, Fred, if a third-ish of the community colleges in the state went all in, that officially breaks our matrix, correct?
Yeah, it would take, based on like a FTE count of around 350, which I think is pretty, from the schools I've already talked to, individually, it's roughly close to that. It would take about 30 of the colleges to combine, and from there we could, if different colleges are ready to join in the program, we could bring them in. So it would take about 30 to max out the grid.
Maxing out the grid means we pay for Camtasia by paying our developers and the lights where Fred is and my flight out here and sushi I had yesterday was so good. But we also pay royalties for the ability to create an MP4 and all that. We basically get down to the point where we're covering the royalties in a little bit. That's it. I'm probably way more transparent than I normally am. So if anyone's part of the OEI consortia, this is something you may want to look at, and this is further conversations that we can have. Any questions for Fred while he's gloriously on the screen? Is this something that seems remotely interesting?
Yes.
Okay.
So we can set up a separate time to go over it in more detail as well.
And then we can talk, there's options for training and having people like myself, or maybe even we talk to how At One is doing with Tracy and that. And there's so many capabilities to do training opportunities. So that, like I said, we're not handing you the software and saying good luck. I'd rather get you the tool and allow you to do cool things with it. So we are at
That's one thing we lack in here.
11:45? Okay. I think we officially were going to end by about 12:30, but question.
So I'm looking at using this soon, this kind of software soon. Why would I want to use this product as opposed to something like Adobe Captivate?
Adobe Captivate, have you already used Captivate?
I've never used either.
Captivate Learning Curve?
Well, we have the Adobe Suite.
Learning Curve. TechSmith. If you, this is going to be really bad. If you ever called Adobe's tech support,
It's no use.
okay. They are not stateside. TechSmith, if you call tech support right now, you're going to get Fred's friends in the next building in Okemos, Michigan. Here, we're all there. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, you go ahead, and I'll say something about Captivate when you get done.
Okay. I won't say anything more about Captivate. Go ahead.
I've played with Captivate on and on for years. This is not a program that Adobe wrote. They bought it from a company called RoboDemo. Its origin was in a PowerPoint slide animation tool, and it still harks back to that. Screencasting, full motion screen recording, and audio and so on is an afterthought in Captivate. It's a much more complex program to learn. There are things you can do with it that you can't do with Camtasia Studio, at least not easily. Mainly putting in branching logic in a demonstration or a tutorial and so on is possible in Captivate. But for basic screencasting, for the vast majority of us, the Camtasia products are amazingly more functional. They're cheaper. Captivate, even with our Adobe education deal, is quite expensive. And I don't think I met Jason there. One of the times when I first met some folks from TechSmith was at a conference, in a League for Innovation conference in Nashville.
Haley.
I met Haley and
McCollum probably.
McCollum and Dave was there. We sort of presented together, but there were like 20 sessions involving techsmith products and 2 involving Captivate.
There are a ton of video creation tools. Sony Vegas, iMovie, Captivate, Premiere. We believe ours is the easiest to use. It's ubiquitous in education. It's ubiquitous in the flipped classroom movement. And we are committed to making you successful with it. Hence the reason I'm here. I mean, I have not seen that. No, if you're going to do high-end video production that's to the professional grade, like you're going to send stuff to Hollywood, absolutely Premiere is the way to go. It'll do things that we can't. But for what you're going to accomplish, I believe this is the tool for it. And we can talk further if you want. Yes, Andrew.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm always looking for ways that my students can not just be consumers, but producers.
Yep.
So my students always create and produce video and other projects. Now, this is being mostly marketed for educators, but is there an aspect where students would be able to?
Certainly. They just have to have a license. They can do the same creation.
So if we have a consortium license or a district license, and the students would automatically have access?
Fred? Most likely, consortium deals typically cover faculty and staff. For it to include students or make it available to students, there's probably a lot of ways they can do it. One, they have access to the education pricing as students. 2, the school may choose to purchase bundles and distribute them as they see fit.
What's the student cost?
Same as the educator cost.
Oh, it is.
Don't you also have Jing? Is it techsmith Jing?
Yeah. So Jing is a basic screen recorder that we made for educators. It's a 5-minute cap on the videos. It makes a flash file, which is not viewable.
I'm just thinking for the students.
They can. If you want them to consume and create content.
We had a lot of people who had their students use Jing.
Yeah, I use it all the time.
I'm back. What did I miss a question there? I'm sorry.
If a school was able to get in on the consortium pricing, what does it look like to give students licensure access?
That would be, we'd have to look into that. Normally, just because of the way that the licensing agreement is, and if they were to put it on their own computer and leave, it's against the license agreement to transfer that license, so it'd have to be owned by the university. When you do get a site license, you can install it on labs. So that's one way to kind of get around it if you wanted student creation or editing. But I mean, there might be ways we can talk about getting students involved too. So I wouldn't.
That's
something we can look into. Right. Exactly.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Sure.
Okay, you got me excited.
Okay.
Now I want to get started.
Okay.
Now do I have to wait?
No.
So TechSmith products, Snagit and Camtasia, are available on our website as a free download. You can download Snagit right now and use it for about up to 30 days before it requires a license.
I think Snagit is 15.
15.
Camtasia's
Camtasia's 30.
If you pull Camtasia right now and use it, it's full functioning, everything's available, but there will be a watermark on your video. It'll say TechSmith Camtasia right in the dang center. So you have the ability to try it out. And see it. I mean, I've said a lot about it. We've gotten you excited, but maybe it's just not excited. That's okay. So you can try it out at that. After that, you would have to have a license. Quick question that I'd love to answer, and then I'd like to debunk. Ready? The difference between CMAC and Camtasia Studio for Windows. Camtasia Studio had been developed for nearly a decade before we released Camtasia for Mac. Main difference for you, it's visually different. There are tool sets in the Mac version that are not available on the Studio side. There is no automatic speech to text on the Mac side because Apple doesn't allow it with their operating system. A lot of the other things are similar. There's no quizzing on the Mac side. And that actually bugs a lot of people because they live in this different they live in different environments. You know, maybe one at home, they're Windows user and maybe at work they're a Mac user. 99% of my life is spent with this. Yet I brought this machine with you for today. So what I'm going to do for you right now, and this goes for the people online too, you already made me a promise that you would help if you send me a request for software. I'm going to ask you to make me another promise. If you can't keep this promise, I'll ask you to leave the room. Typically, TechSmith does not show software in development. They don't. We reveal it to the world when it's ready. We have betas and stuff like that. What I'm going to show you is what Camtasia Studio and Camtasia for Mac, which look exactly the same, behave exactly the same except in speech to text, could possibly be in our next version. Are you willing to see that and not talk about it?
Oh, yeah.
I would not tweet about it. I would ask that you not tweet about it.
We'll cut this out of the recording.
That's right, we all have to sign off social media.
I will confiscate all devices, kill the Wi-Fi in here. What I want to show you, the reason I want to show you is, one, here's the caveats. One, we have no release date on it yet. The goal is this year. It's still baking, which means the way it looks may not be the way it looks when it comes out, if it comes out. The tools that you see may not be the final tools. In fact, I know they're working on one right now that I wish I could show, but I don't have it in the build. This is a build I got from the developers last night. So this is how I'm doing it. Okay? So it may break when I use it. The goals behind this release are going to be complete parity, as complete as we can do cross-platform, including project and recording support. Meaning, if I, as a Mac user, create a project and I want Tracy to do some editing on it, I'm making it on my Mac. I send it to her on her Windows machine, doesn't matter. It is going to be 64-bit compatible, meaning, remember how long it was taking to render that video earlier? About half, about that time in half. All new redesign, all new tools, a couple of bells and whistles that I won't show you yet because they're not ready to be shown. All I ask is for your initial reactions, if you have any positive and negative. Negative is important too. But let me show you what Camtasia Studio 9 and CMAC 3, because they'll be the same, rebranded as Camtasia, will look like. Any questions before I show this? Actually, I'm scared to do this. I've only ever done this once.
I think we're nice on.
People online, I swear to you, I hope you're keeping up your end of it. Mom's a word. Thank you, Alice.
They're live streaming on Facebook right now.
So this is the welcome screen. If you'll see, the welcome screen actually shows Camtasia Studio 8 tutorial because we haven't finished tonight. But this is what it'll look like inside the editor. I'm going to kill that light. Yeah, this one here.
Thank you.
This will look exactly the same on the Mac version. The way it's designed now is we don't have that ribbon across the bottom, which kind of hid a lot of those tools. They're all available here on the left. So there's your media bin, and hiding behind my Zoom stuff. We're seeing it. There you go. Is the I couldn't see it. So it is the library. So all the stuff that Tracy was talking about, all those assets are all here. Voice narration, including the ability to paste a script right on the screen. So if you're a script reader, there's no need to pull up Word and toggle back and forth. The script could be used right here. All your animations are here, call-outs, arrows, shapes, and everything, including all new designs. And if you really miss them, the legacy ones are there too. Animations are the same way, the zoom and pan that we did before, and the ability to add an animation to move stuff around. We have all the pre-built ones, which this looks like the Mac side, so if you want stuff to tilt to the left or full opacity or scale down or scale up, all the different ways you can do it, including a custom one that I use almost always, where I tell Camtasia what I want to do. In that case, that spotlight moved around for me. Right, Alice? You've got your transitions that are all in there. There's some new ones. With great power comes great responsibility with transitions. I'm just telling you. They did categorize them, so there's, if you want just the fades, they're there. If you want just movement ones, they're there. It's designed to get you into where you need to be without having to search through everything. All the cursor effects are exposed, the highlighter, the magnifier, the spotlight, so if you want them to follow your cursor around. Those tools were innate, but they're exposed now, so you can find them. Visual effects, everything from the drop shadow to colorization to the interactive hotspots to clip speed, which was hard to find before. We can apply the speed up process. Like maybe I'm making a video showing rendering. The rendering takes, well, when I did the webinars for CSU, they were 90-minute videos. It took 2 hours to render them. I showed them how it rendered over 6 seconds over clip speed. Audio effects, more powerful audio controls, including the clip speed of audio. So you can make yourself Chipmunky or Darth Vader. You can go what you want. Interactivity, quizzing. This is the Windows side. If I open up my Mac, guess what? Quizzing in the Mac. This is why I wanted to wait to show you. It will be the same. And the caption tool, this is what they're still working on right now. The only thing turned on is importing captions. I can't sync them right now. I can't export them. I can't speech to text because they're working on it as we speak. They're developing. There's another tool that's going to show up probably down here. I can't promise. Like this stuff will most likely be in there, but I can't promise for sure. They're talking about tools that allow for more professional polish without multiple steps. Even Dave and Tracy and Anna, who I showed this to a couple months ago, those are still being developed, and when they are ready to go, I'll show it to you. What's really great is both the Windows and Mac version are going to have this, which is the Properties tab, which means I can open and close the tray. So if I wanted to add a call out here on the screen, which I can now do by dragging it over, which you couldn't do on Windows before, and I wanted to change what it looks like, I can do it on the fly right over here in the side screen. I can detach. Does anybody use 2 monitors? Okay. You can detach the preview window and put it on a separate monitor and have just your editing tools now, and that's easier to do than before. And lots of other stuff under the hood. But largely speaking, that's where we are at right as of last night. I'm real proud of Snagit 13. I'm real proud of that. I'm really proud of this because it is, what the word I used, it's damn peppy. It gets me to where I need to be at a faster rate of speed. I've created a couple of projects from this already, and I have no complaints. I have stuff I want them to move around for personal preference, but they're not always going to listen to me. They're going to listen to me about what you guys have shared. Yes, sir.
If I can go back just a second to the whole licensing talk that we had with SVCCP. One of the things I noticed when we bought the Adobe suite is that software was a site license for lab computers and in our office and whatnot. Is there a way to kind of see if there's a, because I do a lot of my work at home, I'm sure many of you do as well, if there could be an option to where an instructor could have that software on their home computer as well, because I know that's currently not supported by our district. A lot of our software.
I can speak to that.
Yeah.
So official EULA, the end user license agreement for our software states that if you, and it depends on the college, how they distribute this, if you are the primary user of a machine at your place of work, you can install the software there. If you're the primary user on a machine at home, meaning it's not a family computer, you may use that same key one time at home. Big change for this is Studio and CMAC had different keys before. It's all one key. So it won't matter. You buy the key, it goes on both platforms.
What if your office computer is a PC, but your home computer is a Mac?
The key will work the same.
It'll work.
Now,
Yeah.
the one I give you, if I give you one today, it will be different. If you own a TechSmith product and you're under maintenance agreement, which is something that the schools would be under if they so choose, as we and if we upgrade the product, meaning this will be Camtasia Studio 9 and Create 10, you would get it automatically. Otherwise, it's a 50% per license upgrade. I want to make sure if there's questions in the chat that I was getting to those too. Alice, I want to meet you because you're someone right there. Should we put something specific in the subject line when we email Jason? Your name, what school you're from, and what you attended, just so I know. If you would please. That way, and you don't have to put that all in the subject line. You can just email it normally. Just tell me that. Alice says, this is what highlight will look like instead of guessing. This is just a call out. The colorization and adjustment, I don't use highlight. Highlight's typically going to be inside of the shapes, and you can just change the transparency. Here's the highlight right here. But I have nothing to highlight, that's why it won't work. I don't have anything on the highlight. It's right there. There you go, Alice. And I have the inversion of the color. I have the color control all over here on the right. Everything's built in one spot. Okay.
Did you already say when Camtasia 9 is coming out?
I cannot say that.
Oh, okay.
The goal is 2016.
When's the goal?
2016.
This is
Not on the microphone. That if I did say that, I actually would be fired immediately. And that part's not true.
I don't want that to happen, Jim.
Thanks.
Okay, so all the tutorials will change.
Yes.
Will you have tutorials for 8 and 9?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, we have tutorials and versions back. In fact, close this, and we didn't see it. If you go to our website,
While he's doing that, just as someone who uses Camtasia Studio and Mac, this is really intuitive. So it looks really familiar to me, even though it has great new features. I would be able to use this right now, just having used Camtasia.
So 8 is our current version, but right here in the tutorials it says, looking for an older version. Here's actually tutorials for Camtasia 7. And same with Mac. If you went to the Mac version, we have version 2 and version 1, the new version when it comes out. I've taken up a considerable amount of your Thursday morning and now into slightly afternoon. Are there any other questions I can answer for you before we wrap?
You've been fantastic.
Yeah. I appreciate that. The only reason it works is that you guys found value in attending today, and I cannot thank our hosts and the @ONE folks for being here and being a part of this. So the other thing that ends up being cool, if and when I'm able to do this with software, is if you do make a video or some project, I'd love to see it. I'll even, if you want it critiqued privately, I'll do that too. We have high-end users, like we're talking Dave Tracy level, long-time users that are saying, I'm really trying to work on my timing of a call-out animation. Can I send you a video and just get your feedback? I'm not a professional video creator. I'm getting to know Camtasia. And I'm happy to do that too. Any further questions? You guys have been amazing. Enjoy your Thursday. Thank you for online participation.